You know, lately I've come to terms with the seizure. This life of leisure dismantles your actions for the semblance of past distraction. I figured you got impatient while the rest of us kept on working. Decidedly selfish in a knee-jerk reaction told, while my weary eyelids retire control.
And welcome everyone back to the Columbus Comics Corner podcast, episode 24. Moving along just fine. As always, my name is Ryan. With me is Alan,
Right.
And we are here to discuss comics. We're recording a little later than usual because we had some technical difficulties. Maybe some baby showers were involved at one point. So we are going to skip the news that we have for this time around and get into the books. But before that, you can always get our podcast episodes at columbuscomicscorner.podbean.com. Also on iTunes as well, and you can rate and review us and leave us a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star review. Whatever, we'll take it. And also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at Comics Corner Pod as well. And we are a spoilers podcast, so once we do get into the books, we are going to be spoiling them. So if you haven't read what's in the show notes, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I hate to interrupt your wonderful intro.
My wonderful. What are you doing?
Wonderful intro. I was just going to say that we should probably also mention that all of our episodes are now available on YouTube.
Boom.
So if anybody prefers to go to the videos, listen to the audio from the show, you can find us there too. And
thanks to Alan for uploading those.
Oh, don't mention it.
Yeah, we're all up to date now. So yeah, by the time you're listening to this, if for any reason, you can't download it, or you just want to watch it on, or listen to it via YouTube, do it that way. And you threw me off. Where was I at?
We are a spoilers podcast. So if you have not read the books, or if you have not actually read the show description, then you should probably either stop now, go read the books, or continue to listen to us and enjoy our funny.
Exactly what
description and rating of each book.
Exactly what he said. So let's go ahead and get into our. First, how are you doing? Let's people know what's up.
Good.
That's good. Yeah, I was like a little, I don't want to say burnt out today, but it was nice out earlier. I had all this energy, and I got a little down when the Time Warner was like fucking with my shit. So I had to pay. As soon as I paid him, though, cross our fingers, everything started working fine.
That seems like that's how it goes.
Yep. But yeah, I was a little down, and then we recorded with Branden and Trevitt first for the Inhumans versus X-Men, and that, while we were a little down and up, mainly down on the book, it sparked, got some energy back in me. But let's talk some comics though.
That will bring us to our first book of the evening, which is going to be Justice League Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 3. We're already at number 3 with this, and it was written by Tom Taylor. And the artist and colorist were both was evenly pick up this issue where the last one left off with the monsters that were created by Zed attacking the different parts of the world. And back in Gotham, most of the rest of the primary Justice League and the Power Rangers are trying to figure out how they're going to tackle this issue. Batman doesn't seem to be too enthusiastic about the Power Rangers' distant help. While this is going on, the backup reserve members of the Justice League, along with some of the other major members of the Justice League, are around the world fighting these monsters, and it seems that the Watchtower is actually under a digital attack. Battles ensue, and the Power Rangers do decide to jump in. It is revealed that Brainiac is actually helping them because they notice some Brainiac drones that are jumping on all of the Megazords. These Brainiac drones actually managed to phase into the Megazords and steal each Ranger's power coins, after which the Megazords are taken over after being rescued by the other Justice League members from the Zords and left powerless. The Power Rangers are a little down because all of the monsters disappear, and it's pretty evident to them that the Zords, along with Brainiac and We then see that that Billy has an idea of how they could possibly get back, which is to use a Hadron Collider to open up a rift in time and go through it. After getting a pep talk from Superman, the scientists at the Hadron Collider actually decide they have some sciences of their own, and with Billy's help, they're sure that they can all figure out how to get back. And that is where we end this issue. What were your thoughts on this issue?
That was another. I thought we would have picked up a little bit more 3 issues in, and it was kind of just another quick read for me. Yeah, I mean, I still like the art, but I'm not sure if this is holding my excitement right now.
I definitely am still enjoying the art. The art's been pretty solid. I have to admit, I was expecting more monster battles in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Was leading to this one being a battle heavy issue. But in a way, I guess they have to, because this is 6 issues in this series.
Yeah.
I guess they have to set up the final battle and set up what happened to Angel World. So I this way, because it seems like the primary bulk of the story is meant to take place in the Power Rangers universe.
Yeah, I can see that because I kind of picked up on that. They keep hinting on kind of what's going to happen at what has happened. Well, when we see it the first issue, it's like in the future. But yeah, what's going to happen? But the whole transportation thing kind of threw me off because at first, they were planning on getting everyone transported to different locations around the world, but then the transportation device, didn't work, and I think Brainiac took it over. They mentioned, but then we still
into the Watchtower.
Yes, yep, into the Watchtower, but we still see like all these superheroes scattered around the world. That kind of threw me off.
But there was only a few instances where they actually told us exactly where League members were at. So I would guess maybe some of them already teleported as soon as Superman gave the order, and the remaining stuck around to have the argument over whether or not the Power Rangers would help or not. But even if it was like a panel or two, it would have been good to explain how some of the heroes already got there.
No, I agree, definitely. What else? Yeah, and I guess another thing, like, it's borderline cheesy, but I think it's not. It's being, the overall story in the comic itself, it's like borderline cheesy, but I think it's, I'm starting to realize it's being appealed to maybe not me. I still want to see what happens, but I think we're just moving a little bit slow. Yeah, that's for me, unfortunately. But Zach's pissed the whole time, and that's kind of touching on what you were saying, like leading up to the Angel Grove thing, because Zach was, pretty mad this entire issue.
Yeah, and he started off mad and depressed in the first issue, so I guess they're showing us this is the point where he started getting upset and mad, and chances are, I'm guessing that the first issue was probably when they first teleport there. The beginning of the next issue is probably going to be where that first issue started. So they're probably going to teleport there and find out that they're too late, and then that's going to be Zach sitting there depressed.
And that's when they have to kick some ass.
Yeah, then Superman has to give him a pep talk, and then they ready to go into battle.
I did like the interaction when they were at the Watchtower, and the Justice League figured out, or kind of saw how young they were. I think it was Cyborg that mentioned it. He was like, I can't believe this. Or no, it's Hal Jordan.
Yeah, they're just kids.
Yeah,
it seemed like the only person that wasn't fazed by it was Superman.
Yep. Yeah, like you were saying, he's giving Zach the pep talk. Which I think that was like one of the. I think it's something like the cheesy. I mean, it is Superman being chipper, himself. It was just kind of goofy to see.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Superman we expect, and I think it's goofy because we've become accustomed to the New 52 Superman, right. And now we're starting to get the classic Superman. So we're starting to get those Boy Scout moments.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely for sure a Boy Scout moment.
Yeah, so it's a little bit weird because it's not something that we've been getting, and we're just starting to get it. So it's like, man, this is weird.
I was digging Superman's 5 o'clock shadow, though. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that close up.
Yep.
You're like, man, Superman. When's the last time he shaved?
Maybe hitting that bottle a little bit. Maybe that's why it's so chipper.
Maybe this is Ooh, I don't want to say that. I know you know what I was about to say, don't you?
Oh boy, Mixel.
Maybe this is taking place a little bit after the issue we'll be talking about a little bit later.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much for this. Again, I guess I expected just a little bit more than what we got. We didn't get to see Brainiac or Zord, right? Zed. Thank you.
Well, we have to make it to 6 issues, like so.
Yeah.
I expected at least one of these issues to slow down. One of these issues had to slow down. And why not make it the midpoint issue? Because the first 2 issues were, pretty action packed and pretty funny and exciting and fun to watch or read.
I thought it was more. I was gonna say that I thought the first 2 issues were a little bit of action, but more getting these characters together. It seems.
Yeah. Okay, well there you go. Even with that, then that means that the last few issues, the teams are together. We gotta get them their powers back, and we gotta get a lot of action.
Yeah, hopefully, because we already talked about one event that ended not so well.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that event was the same length as this little crossover, and this is the point in that other event when it slowed down and just never recovered really. So yeah, you are correct in that.
But yeah, I mean, it still has me. I'm still I'm not burnt on it. I definitely want to see, and like you said, I think we should at least get more action now that the team is together. It sucks that well, I guess granted they don't have the Power Rangers don't have their powers right now because their coins and their communicators are taken, and their robots. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they get those back in control.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you got anything else for this, really?
No, that's all I got for this.
Same here. We can move on to our next book.
All right.
So that'll bring us to Grass Kings #1, written by Matt Kent, art by Tyler Jenkins, and letters by Jim Campbell. So the issue opens up showing us the life before present day, set in the time period where Native Americans ruled the land. This transitional scene helps set up the fact that over time, a piece of land can be conquered a lot over time. From there, we're shown a time lapse as the land evolves, setting us into present day. Here's where we get an introduction to our first main character, Bruce, who's dispatched to pick up a trespasser named Lo and escort him back to his town of Cargill. We start to pick up things and learn more about this town as they, as the two make their way through it to get back to Cargill, or the border at least. And this off-the-grid town is its own secluded community, and aren't fans of outsiders coming in. And Grass Kingdom has, essentially survived by setting their own rules and, that the town abides by. And Bruce makes several stops along the way to speak with some of the residents, kind of giving us more insight into Grass Kingdom and the world that they're in. So yeah, we depart from Bruce and Lo to move our focus onto Asher, visiting their brother. And Robert seems to be the sheriff of the town. And after the two exchange words, Asher leaves his brother, who is staring off into the distance, which he then fades into a flashback of Robert spending time, or of himself, Robert, spending time with his daughter, who has disappeared since and hasn't been seen. And there the issue ends in Cargill, where Lo has found his way to the police station to speak with the Sheriff Herbert. And it's just a quick scene of Herbert asking Lo that if he found any information, or essentially found Robert's daughter at all. So it seems that he is on the trail about this overall mystery of the daughter who essentially died, and her body was never found. So people have questions. Your first Matt Kent and our first Grass Kings together. What were some of your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, I was definitely surprised at the presentation.
Oh yes,
We've talked before about books that have like different grades of paper and everything, and it kind of is different from your normal comic book. This was definitely different.
Yeah, some care was put into it. You don't see that a lot in DC and Marvel.
Yeah, I love the texture of the cover itself. Like, it really just feels different. I was a little surprised at first because it's not a technique normally used in comics. I was a little thrown back
The watercolor.
by the watercolors, yes. But I found that I did enjoy the choice to use watercolors in this.
Yes.
It definitely makes each page and each panel look really artistic, and some of these look like they could actually be paintings. I thought it was interesting to show the lapse in time and to show the whole idea that this town is a self-contained town, and that, like you said, they don't take kindly to outsiders. After the flashback in the end and the reveal of the rival town sheriff, I obviously have a logical prediction, which they're probably it's not gonna be true, but I'm guessing that is actually gonna be his daughter, who's probably kidnapped or fell downstream and ended up in another town and has finally escaped having the two towns go to war over the daughter. That is my prediction, just based off of this first issue.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that didn't come to my mind, but you got a good point there, though. Yeah, because, we don't really know what's going on with this daughter. She just appeared out of the lake because she was to believe that she was either killed or died in some way, because we get a flashback of he fell asleep while they were out near the lake, and something happened, and we'll definitely find out. And yeah, it was definitely an interesting choice to use watercolors, which you mentioned, you don't see that often, and I thought it was awesome. And the overall presentation of the book was really cool. I like the story and the setup to kind of what's going on. There's a weird mystery to everything, and the weird mystery really comes at the end where we get the flashback, and like you mentioned, the sheriff of Cargill, is looking for her as well. So we got to figure out what's really going on. But I enjoyed meeting the characters.
Yeah.
As they're kind of traveling through, you get a sense that you've known these characters for a little bit now, just from the dialogue.
Well, I thought it was interesting that when they revealed the other sheriff at the end, that it turned out that they were correct, that Lowe had essentially been sent as a spy on the town.
Yeah, because they were having that conversation in the car earlier.
Kept saying he's a spy or he's spying and everything, and he's pretty much like, no, I'm not spying, I'm just here. And then it's revealed that he is spying, and the other sheriff obviously is really interested in and he had the pictures of the brothers, so obviously he's got some kind of ultimate plan for this town. Obviously, I think they want the town probably, and we'll stick with the idea that that's the dog.
Yes, I agree. But I did enjoy there was a box guitar that was illustrated in here. I thought that was really pretty. You don't see boxes in comics much at all, or really at all. That was a nice touch.
That was towards the end, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's got this whole trailer park vibe too.
Yeah, I did get that. It's almost like a small southern town that has a trailer park vibe to it.
We'll have to figure out when
they're off the grid, and they apparently don't answer to the government.
And we'll see if they ever step in at some point.
Yeah.
Is it something you think you'd want to follow? Even in your spare time, if we didn't, finish this arc out?
Yeah. Like I said, it surprised me at first because like I said, when I first touched the book, and then the watercolors threw me off. And when I first read it, it's not your average story that I'm used to seeing in a comic book, because it's not the type of story I would normally read.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, it kind of threw me back a little bit, and then I kind of marinated on it a little bit and thought about it and kind of flipped through it and looked through it a little bit more and was like, you know what, this is actually interesting, and I would definitely I would want to see what's going to happen. I'm interested to see what would happen in number 2.
Yeah. Like, I wrote a review for it on the Weird Science DC site, and I mentioned like how it's it felt like I just watched a pilot episode to a TV show.
Yeah, that is what it felt like.
You know what I mean? Meeting everyone, and then there's weird mystery at the end.
Yep, you got a brief history of the town in a way.
Yeah, I've been following Matt Kent since I found out about him. He's been doing a lot of Valiant stuff, but it was really cool to see this come out of Boom, because a lot of the time they have, I think they're more of the TV and the cartoon properties franchises. Yeah. So it's cool to see them put out a little indie book like this.
They want to show that there's more to them than that.
Exactly. Awesome, cool. That's all I really got for that book. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely gonna continue picking it up, finish out this arc. It definitely has a lot of potential. So I hope it nails the landing. I find, especially talking about all these events, now I just find myself saying, "Man, I hope this arc or this event sticks its landing."
Yeah. Hope there's payoff to this.
You're right. Awesome, cool. Well, you want to move on to our next book?
Yep.
Sweet.
All right, that'll bring us to the next book, which is going to be Planet of the Apes, Green Lantern, number 2. And this has a story by Robbie Thompson, with Justin Jordan as writer. Artist was Barnaby Bagenda, and the colors were by Alex Gamaris. We pick up with Hal Jordan on the shores of New York City from the Planet of the Apes. So essentially he's on the beach, and he is awakened by one of the ape soldiers and is quickly captured after he realizes that his ring does not work. We then get a shot of Cornelius, who is now appears to be a Red Lantern, talking to the remaining mutated humans who live underground, trying to figure out what happened to Taylor from the end of the first Planet of the Apes movie. And when he finds him, he's not too happy. But while this is going on, we know he goes from a Green Lantern to a Red Lantern to a Blue Lantern. He then goes back to a Green Lantern and disassembles a nuclear bomb that the mutants are worshiping, and he forms a bunch of rings, and he says that he's going to make them all gods. We then flash back to Oa, where Guy Gardner and Kilowog and some of the other Lanterns are confronting the Guardians about the fact that Hal Jordan has disappeared, and they are quickly told that one of the first Guardians, after the failure of the Manhunters, attempted to craft the ultimate weapon. This weapon was a ring that was able to actually access all the spectrums of the emotional energy field. This ring was deemed to be too dangerous, and it quickly disappeared, and now they have found out that it has not only reappeared, but this seems to be the ring that Sinestro was after. We then flash back to Hal Jordan, who's in the captivity of the apes, and is believed to be a human who can actually mock speech, as he tries to tell them that they're in danger and that Sinestro is running free. After he's left with 2 guards, he quickly breaks free, and he runs into Cornelius' wife, who actually realizes that he indeed is a human who can speak after her run-in with Taylor. We are then introduced to Sinestro, who actually meets one of the high members of the council, and we then get to go see Guy Gardner and the other Green Lanterns as they appear to be getting ready to go on a mission to save Hal Jordan. But first, they figure that since they know now he is in a planet ruled by apes, that they need some help. So they go to Bel Rev and actually are about to get Gorilla Grodd. Thoughts, opinions, feedback, comments?
the end saved it for me to make me want to read the next one.
The end saved it for you?
Yeah. I was kind of bored. And I'm glad, I probably should have done a little bit of research because I didn't know about Taylor. So I was a little thrown off by that. And it kind of felt like we jumped forward, like we skipped something when we jump into this issue. Let's see if we can...
Well, that's probably because I think towards the end of the last issue, we had a Hal Jordan crashing through the portal, and if I remember correctly, we had Cornelius being worshipped by the underground dwellers, the mutants.
Right. Yeah, I guess after what's his name gets washed up on sea, I think it's the Cornelius stuff that I felt a little thrown off by. Yeah, I do remember them worshiping, but it just seemed like because we knew, well, actually, we didn't really see his transformation to become straight evil. You know, we saw him get the ring, but it seems like we kind of just skipped a little bit just to push him forward to villain.
That's because I believe in the last issue he was an Orange Lantern. And in this issue, the first time we see him, he's a Red Lantern.
Red Lantern. It would probably help too if I knew about the Green Lantern, lore.
Well, that was the thing. I said this when we did when we spoke with the Marvel Minute guys, that they introduced something new to the Green Lantern lore, which is the idea of the ring that essentially was the first ring that can access all the spectrum. See, with the lanterns, each lantern core accesses a specific spectrum of the emotional field. So like Green Lanterns, they access willpower. Yellow Lanterns access fear. Orange is like hubris or greed. And blue is hope. Like each color is they get their power from a certain emotion.
Okay.
So with this ring, it takes its power from all emotions.
Gotcha.
Which is why he kept transforming, which is why I thought was interesting. It confused me at first because I was like, wait a minute, how is he turning into a Red Lantern and a Green Lantern and a Blue Lantern? And then they explained the ring, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's whatever emotion he has at that moment. It's what it turns into.
I guess I should have picked up on that. I guess I didn't, because I was just kind of thrown off at the beginning to kind of catch that.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Whatever emotion he has at the moment, that ring turns him into that lantern. So if he's feeling hate, then he turns into a Red Lantern. If he's feeling that he needs to use the willpower, then he turns into the Green Lantern. And then when he feels bad for Taylor, and he's basically he's feeling hope.
And poor not Guy Gardner. Oh, I forget his name. The Green Lantern is captured in here.
You said Hal Jordan?
Hal Jordan. Oh, who did I name in the other one? Oh, I was thinking I missaid John Stewart in the last time we were talking about this, or sometime tonight.
You possibly did. I mean, they're all Green Lantern.
Yeah, right. But yeah, the Hal Jordan scene. That was a lot of the pages. Kind of.
It was a lot of the pages, and it harkened back to the original Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, definitely got that feel, especially when he kind of did the cheesy line where the ape saying "get up" and he's like, "You got it." Sleep kicks him.
Yes.
And you thought, what did he say? And you thought I was the dumb one.
Yeah, you thought I was the dumb one.
So I definitely got that whole classic feel. But
yeah, I definitely get a feel for because I like the original Planet of the Apes movies. I like the new ones that they're making, but I love the originals. And a lot of this keeps, since the first issue harkened back so much. Remember at the end of the first issue, I was able to tell you what time period this was taking place in.
Yeah, right after the first one.
Apes. Yeah, and even here, I thought it was interesting that they touched on something about the original movies, and it's the fact that world is stuck in a perpetual loop. So it's in a never-ending loop of what causes it to be ruled by apes and what ultimately destroys it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always found that interesting. I don't know if you've seen all of the original movies.
Not all of them. I know I've seen at least one or two of them.
I would definitely suggest going back and watch them. They're good,
I should.
but it does raise the question though through the series about paradoxes, because essentially that's what it seems like. You get to a point where you're like, well, this is essentially going to end up being a paradox because it's a loop that's not going to end. And can you stop anything like that from happening? Can you actually stop a time loop?
Right.
So I just thought it was interesting that they threw that in there. They answered that question for people who probably wondered about the timeline of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
It was, I can't remember her name. I'm mad I can't remember her name, but it was good to see Cornelius' wife.
Yeah, I did recognize her.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Sinestro, because obviously his ring doesn't work either because of that. First ring draws power from nearby rings,
yep.
and sucks them dry. And I definitely enjoyed the reveal of Gorilla Grodd, because if you remember when they first announced it, man, they should have did something with Gorilla Grodd in this.
Bringing him in for the weapon. That'll be interesting. Yeah, that's why I'm like that's the kind of the one thing that got me like, you know, interested in the next issue. I was like, okay, let's see what they do with Grodd.
You know he's gonna go there and go crazy.
Maybe he'll call on the rest of the Grods and build an army.
Well, that's what he's going to do. He's going to build an army. Like, he's going to go there and he's going to take over the minds of the other apes that are there, and he's going to have a little army and try to betray everybody.
Mm-hmm. That'll be interesting.
He's going to think he could be king there.
Yeah, I wish I was a little bit more excited for this issue. Because it didn't really grab me, kind of like the first issue.
It only grabbed me because of the lore that it put into there. Because of I'm enjoying the play on the Planet of the Apes,
mm-hmm.
but the lore of this ring that I never knew. Like that's why I was like, I wonder if they're going to bring this into the normal continuity of this ring.
Yeah,
that's an interesting premise.
Something tells me they won't.
I mean, they probably won't. It's going to be the one-shot MacGuffin for this story.
Right.
It would be awesome if they did bring it in and we just knew it was hovering out there somewhere.
Yeah.
I enjoy Grodd. Yeah. So, you know, it didn't draw me in as much as the first issue, but I really did enjoy this issue too, and I definitely can't wait to see what will happen in 3.
Yeah, definitely not a horrible issue. Just a par issue for me. But yeah, I definitely want to see what's going on with Grodd and what he can do.
Oh yeah,
another one from Boom as well this week. 2 from Boom. I think that's a first.
Yes, I think that is a first.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Well, that's all I really got for that book.
Oh, same here.
Sweet. We can move on.
All right.
Well, that's going to bring us to Flash number 18 then, written by Joshua Williamson, pencils by Jesus Moreno, inker is Andy Owens, colorist Chris Sotomayor, with letters from Steve Wands. Wally is dealing with his father, knowing he's Reverse Flash, and gets upset when he sees Barry and his father bonding, and he's kind of missing out on that moment with his evil father, or evil now turned good father, for the most part. Wally heads to Belle Rev with Flash to find his father, and Wally, being impatient, causes them to be found out, while they're sneaking around the prison. And Amanda Waller gives Flash a warning and lets them go. And she plays off the fact that she knows anything about Reverse Flash. And from there, Flash and Wally head to the Outbanks to interrogate Boomerang for answers. But they are then captured by a local gang, who is possibly Crocodile Dundee.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
So yeah, we've been enjoying this Flash book so far. Did your excitement continue in this issue?
It actually did, because they revealed at the end of the last arc that he had stole the information about his father, and I had obviously totally forgotten that his dad was Reverse Flash. Because we discussed it before, where I said I forgot that Reverse Flash was on the Suicide Squad before they decided to go with this more closely tied to the movie version of the Squad.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely enjoyed the fact they were going to Bel Rev. I was like, oh, they're going to Bel Rev, and it was a little weird seeing Waller there.
Oh, that's what I meant. I meant to text you. I'm not sure if it's one of your album mentions, but did you read Suicide Squad?
I actually did.
Oh, is she still alive?
No, she's not alive. At least not in this issue. If she is alive, they didn't reveal it in this issue.
Okay.
They revealed something else in this new issue.
Okay. Oh boy.
They revealed who the mole is.
Gotcha. All right. But yeah, moving on with Flash. We'll get to that off air.
Yes. But it was fun seeing him go to Bel Rev, but it was just weird seeing Amanda Waller there.
Yeah, that kind of threw me out for a minute. I was like, oh, okay.
And I definitely thought the interaction between Amanda Waller and Flash was pretty funny.
Yeah, she kind of put him in check, being the wall that she is.
Oh, yeah, and left Kid Flash totally confused as to why he just went along with what she said.
Yeah, because he still doesn't know the Flash is Barry, which is interesting because, I mean, no one, or him, or Wally, nor Iris knows at this point still. So I'm surprised they're still kind of leaving that. I'm surprised they're even doing that. The fact that he has the secret that he's not telling them, which I hope comes out soon because that's silly.
Oh yeah, I was wondering, like I wasn't wondering, but I was thinking that it's also silly. I guess they decided they could have more drama or more better story elements if they went back to nobody really knowing he's the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was a great dynamic I liked about Barry and Iris, was that she knew that he was the Flash and she was okay with it.
Or vice versa, like Wally knowing.
Well, yeah, like Wally knowing too. Like that really is like, well, Wally should know, especially if Flash is training them and they're,
running around everywhere.
Yeah, like I mean, he should know.
But yeah, I thought this issue would have moved a little bit further. It's because they have been playing with the whole Wally West Reverse Flash father thing, and there was some catch up with Barry's dad as well. But yeah, it's kind of a catch up issue for me. I'm definitely going to continue this to see where this all goes. But I just would have liked this to move along, just a little bit further in this issue.
It can't. You want me to tell you why it can't?
What's up?
Because they got to stretch. Remember, I said last time they got to stretch out whatever the next story is for the button.
The button.
The button.
Oh yeah, it's very, very true. Well, hopefully
the button is real close, so they have to stretch this out until issue 20.
I'm hoping this gets better than before we get there.
Hopefully,
not better. Just I guess we hope we pick up more because it was a good issue.
Okay.
It wasn't like a horrible bad issue or anything like that, but yeah,
it'll probably pick up next issue because I mean the Flash half of the button starts in 21 and this is issue 18.
Right.
So they just got to make it to 20. So that means there's only gonna be like 3 issues, and unless they wrap it up somehow in the next issue and then use issue 20 as a breather before they go into the button, but they're probably not going to do that.
Mm-mm. There was one art. Overall, I did enjoy the art. Overall, I love the kind of the 90s throwback feel. But
yes.
With a little modern touch on it. But there was a little nitpick I had with the art. It's when they get to Bel Rev and they're talking, and then they switch shots, and you see them in the distance. The colors on the suits are incorrect.
Give me 1 sec to see where.
Yeah, it's right when they get to Bel Rev.
They're in the bushes?
Yep, and they're.
Yeah, well, they're.
Yeah,
because Wally, first of all, they're standing on the wrong side.
Yeah, yep, wrong side different colors.
It should be reversed with who's standing there. Secondly, that's why the colors are different or wrong, is because they switched the colors. But Wally looks more like the traditional Reverse Flash
he
from
does.
that angle. as opposed to Kid Flash.
So that was a little confusing.
So, yeah.
I was reading the dialogue. I was like, hold on, who's that coming from? I thought, oh, this is weird.
Oh yeah, even the dialogue is right, but they did it wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Editorial.
Wow. Yes, that is a mistake.
That's probably my only art. I think that was my only like art nitpick. Overall, it was awesome. Though I like the explanation for them getting through the guards. Kind of running when the thunder crashes.
Yeah, to kind of hide their electricity, or to hide their thunder when they run.
Yeah. And and also, I thought the Flash could have called on Batman a little earlier to get some of those transfer records they were mentioning.
No, we couldn't because we can't use Batman until the button.
That's probably in this.
Flash cannot interact with Batman until the button. So no.
I can't accept that.
You have to, because you know why you have to accept it? The button.
The button. I was looking at that lenticular cover again the other day. That's pretty dope. That Flash one looks dope. Hopefully, I didn't order it, but I'm hoping my shop will have a few extras.
I ordered mine.
Yeah, and then we get Boomerang, kind of talking shit, drinking. I did enjoy the Boomerang. Yeah, I did enjoy the Boomerang stuff. It's like him and Flash having a conversation while Boomerang's beating down these guys. But then, the whole Crocodile Dundee thing, I wasn't really thrilled on. I was like, okay, I'm not sure where this is going.
They're in Australia. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I guess.
And they sent Boomerang, so which I'm glad they quickly explained. So I'm like, why is Boomerang there? Like, and they quickly explain like Amanda Waller sent him on a solo mission.
Very convenient. You know what else? You know what also is convenient? Calling Batman.
No, it's not, and it's not convenient because the button.
You and your button.
DC and their button. I agree with you. It would have been more convenient to call Batman to get the information, but the button. So they can't use that.
Right. Yeah, overall not a bad issue though. Let's just hope it picks up from here, and we just got to make it to the button, and then after the button, hopefully we can get some more cool stories.
I agreed.
But I think that's really all I had for this. Unless you had anything else.
Nope.
Well, let's move on. We'll get more excited. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. That'll bring us to our next book of the evening, which is going to be Action Comics number 975, which is part 2 of the Superman Reborn arc. This is written by Dan Jurgens with Doug Minnick on pencils and Jamie Mendoza on inks and Will Quintana on colors. We pick up this issue with Lois and Clark rushing into Metropolis to try to find out what happened to John. They quickly rush to the apartment of Clark Kent, and as they go in there, they start scanning around and knows that he is not there. It looks like no one's been there. Lois then opens the fridge and sees food, and it turns out that there's a lot of sweets. She comments that it looks like a 6-year-old does all the shopping. And then that's when Clark Kent finally pops up. Superman immediately jumps into action, asking what's going on and where is his son. And he tells him that his son is okay, but it's just him, them two now. And he tells Superman that he knows who he is. And he tells him, let's play. And Superman has no idea who he is because he quickly morphs into Lex Luthor. So obviously Superman is like, okay, well, this is a plot from Lex Luthor. And he tells him no. And then he quickly morphs into Bizarro. And he says Bizarro. And then he tells him no. And then he morphs into Brainiac, and he says Brainiac, and he says, no, you know
No
who I
bueno.
am. Yes. And so he morphs into Mongo, and he morphs into the Parasite, and then Lois knows the Snow Globe, and while she's getting the Snow Globe, he morphs into Cyborg Superman, and then Doomsday, and Lois notices that there's a bunch of little people inside the globe, and she goes to say, and her and Clark both get it at the same exact moment. They both realize who it is, and they go to say Mr., and it turns out that it's Mr. Mxyzptlk. And the big reveal, everyone's been wondering who is the human Clark Kent, and it's Mr. Mxyzptlk. And he essentially tells him, like, where's my son? And there's a big back and forth, to which Mr. Mxyzptlk disappears and completely vanishes, and then Lois is completely confused as to what he is talking about. And Superman says that, I'm talking about, trying to find our son. Our son is gone, and the only chance we had to find him is just disappeared. And Lois does not know who John is.
John who?
John who. So it appears that he has made good on his promise and essentially erased most people's memories of John. This was actually a supersized anniversary issue also.
Anniversary.
So it had a secondary story in the back, which seemed like an easy way to do what they've been doing in Suicide Squad with a Superman book.
Yeah, Paul Dini.
Yes, because the secondary story essentially picks up with where Mr. Mxyzptlk disappeared. And we get classic shots of Superman fighting him over the years, and we get a shot of Superman in bed telling John a story. And apparently John is telling him that his father has told him stories about Mr. Mxyzptlk. And Mixie doesn't really believe this. So he kind of talks about how him and his father have battled over the years and everything, and that normally, for those who don't know about Superman history, Mixie normally pops up like every 3 months, and he normally pesters and bothers Superman, and Superman has to trick him into saying his name backwards, and then he disappears. But this time he popped up, and it had been a few years, and he was immediately captured by Mr. Oz. And when he tried to escape, Mr. Oz told him, like, your powers mean nothing here. They're nullified here. You're going to interfere with a plan that I have for Superman, and I can't have you out there ruining things. So you're going to stay here for as long as it takes, because you're immortal. So, a few years is like a few seconds to you. And Mixie actually goes crazy being locked up, and because he believes that Superman will come and save him. He's like, Superman will see that I haven't made our appointment, and he'll surely come and save me. And Superman does not show up. And so this drives Mixie crazy, and he flips out and he goes nuts. And then he has the revelation that maybe the power that is used to send him back can break him out. So he continues to say his name backwards, and he's actually broken free. I thought it was funny because they actually also comment on the fact that Mixie knows that there's alternate versions of him and Superman throughout different realities, and that they always have this game that goes on, and that in our actuality, he says that saying his name backwards does not really do anything. He just allows Superman, for the benefit of their game, to think that it does. Mm-hmm. I'm going to touch on this when I get done wrapping this up, because this is a very interesting part of the book for me.
Okay.
But once he's free, he realizes that Mr. Oz was instantly trying to catch him back. So he had to try to find a way to hide. So what he did was he put a spell on himself, and the spell was so good that he believed he was Clark Kent. And he figured that was the best way for him to actually help Clark, because he realized that the New 52 Superman was revealed to be Clark Kent. So by turning himself and the Clark, people would see, like, okay, Clark's here, Superman's here, they can't be the same person. And so that was actually his way of saving Superman for a change. And he believed all of this until he finally saw the family together. He finally saw Superman, Lois, and John together, and that's when he realized who he was, and he snapped out of it. He gave John a chance to play a game where he could go home. John goes home and realizes that he's all by himself, and that Mixie has absolutely no plan to actually let him go. That ends this issue. What were your thoughts, opinions? I know that wrap up was huge.
That's the longest wrap up we've had on the show.
It probably is, but it was a big issue.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of stuff really in there, and I kind of glossed over a couple of things that I just figured we would talk about now.
Of course.
But what did you think?
So yes, I've said this since we've been covering it. I have no real stake in Superman, just because I haven't been reading it. I don't read, really any Superman at all. But yeah, so I'm just going in this at from a story and how they're telling the story. Overall, it's hard to say. I don't want to fake the funk and be like, oh, this and that. I didn't expect Mr. Mxyzptlk. And now one of my questions would be kind of where do we go from here? With it being the second issue, the reveal coming this soon, Mr. Mxyzptlk being able to, do essentially anything, possibly kind of seems like a cheap way out, but we still have 2 issues left. So I want to see how this wraps up. But yeah, it's just interesting that they dropped the bomb this quick, and it being Mr. Mxyzptlk, it makes me wonder where this can go from here, because he is powerful and whatnot.
Yeah, he's a fifth dimensional being, and in our reality, they're essentially like gods. So, like you said, he can do anything. I didn't expect them to reveal it, because this is the second issue in this little arc, and this is a 4-part arc.
Mm-hmm.
It was just interesting to see him actually them reveal that it was Mixie. Because I'm sure now Mr. Oz is going to be hot on his trail, because he is essentially interfering with whatever this big plan is Mr. Oz had for Superman.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of my things as well.
Mixie.
Yeah, that's one of my my nitpicks, I guess, as well, is with this this real Clark Kent being out there, I would have thought that Dr. Oz would have been, hot on that trail, knowing that, Mr. Mxyzptlk is gone, and now there's this new Superman in town, and kind of what's going on with that. But one big problem I thought I had was, like you mentioned during the recap, Mr. Mxyzptlk's powers are nullified in that jail cell, but he was still able to use his powers to get out. And that was, because we kind of mentioned it earlier this week when we were talking off air. Paul Dini coming on and him having no previous work in this arc, so it was just kind of odd to see. But yeah, the fact that his powers were nullified, but he was still able to use them, kind of throws things off a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a little weird for me because the one of the parts I wanted to touch on, which goes into the whole power thing, was the fact that he says that when he saw different versions of them throughout reality, which was an awesome shot, because we saw the animated series version,
yeah, that was really cool.
The Bizarro versions, we saw the Lego versions, we saw the action figure. That was a cool shot. But in that section, he says, Superman's goal was to trick him into saying his name backwards, and that sends him back to the fifth dimension. But he says that doesn't actually work. He just lets Superman think that it works so that they can keep playing the game.
Mm-hmm. He wanted a friend.
But he immediately uses that trick to break out. So either he's lying to himself and he thinks it's true because he's pretty much lost his mind at this point, or like you said, he actually can still use his powers, because that's what broke him out. He just kept saying his name backwards, and every time he said it, more and more of that reality he was stuck in with terror, trying to snatch him back to where he's from, to the fifth dimension.
Yeah, and I think the back half of this issue is really more important than the first half.
The first half is only important for what it is, which is revealing who
it is,
Mixie, who was actually the fake Clark.
Exactly.
Which is why I think it was shorter and the back half was longer. Is because now that you know it's him, my first question was, how did he even pull this off? Then, like, how did he fool everybody into thinking he was Clark? How did he fool Batman and pass a lie detector? And how did he fool a DNA test and all that stuff? And basically have everybody thinking he was Clark. And that's where the back half comes into play, where it really elaborates on how he was able to do all of this. Because he did it so well, he put such a great spell on himself that he even tricked himself into thinking he was really Clark.
Yeah, this is a hot issue this week. Everyone's talking about this. So
I'm sure they are. While I've said before on the first few times we've got into this that I was, my number one pick would have been for it to be the Eradicator. That was like a nostalgia thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got Steel there, we've got Hank Henshaw. I thought it would have been awesome to get some Eradicator. They teased that at Doomsday, the last issue. So I'm like, all we need is Eradicator and Superboy, and we have all the main characters from the Death of Superman. But my number two was always Mixie. Like, that was always my number two. And if I'd have taken off my nostalgia glasses, that would have made more sense to me for it to be him.
Yeah, I definitely want to see how this all ends. Because I still have questions. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying I was just hoping for that reunion, but I will agree that I definitely am also interested to see how this is going to end with 2 issues and where this is going to go. I want to know if Mr. Oz is going to be revealed now to Superman, and now Superman's going to know that there's something bigger going on.
Yeah, I'm really hoping, especially with Rebirth, the big Rebirth stuff around the corner, this really opens up and maybe a hint of something to push us forward with this, because this is, they're making it out to be this big of a story. Why not throw some ice cream in there to get everyone excited for the sweets?
Yeah, maybe Oz will secretly help Superman get to Mixie, and then once he's there, maybe Mixie will kind of drop a little hint that'll perk Superman's ears up to realize that there's something more going on than just, Mixie going crazy and taking John.
Right.
And like you said, that'll kind of, lay the foundation and start opening the doors a little bit more for the rest of this Rebirth, so things finally start unfolding. Because we were all waiting around for the button, so the button can start really unfolding a lot of the stuff that's going on. But, what if Superman's also going to play a big part in this after the button?
Exactly.
And this could be the setup to the part Superman's going to play afterwards. Like, maybe Flash and Batman are going to, find out a little bit more. But at the end of that arc, Superman will come in and he'll basically be like, I just got this information.
Yeah, I got a little piece of the puzzle, too.
Yeah. And that leads them all down the path of trying to slowly piece together what's really going on.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, talk much more about this, because I definitely want to see where this goes. Because, again, I still have questions, and at this point, we're kind of just writing it out to, because I hope they didn't blow their load, too fast and goes downhill from here. I hope this is well thought out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, that they thought this out and it'll make sense for them to drop this bomb this early in the arc. Because honestly, if I'd have known it was 4 issues, I would have expected them to drop the information like issue 3.
Right. And then the big finale of the 4.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I enjoyed my excitement level. My excitement level throughout the book was pretty high. It was cool to see who it was. I definitely enjoyed the stuff with Mixie and John.
And John, yeah.
And I have to say,
I believe John. I believe what John said.
Yeah, at the beginning, that's what I was just about to say. Like when he was talking about how his dad used to tell him the stories about him.
Yeah. And it just shows that Mixie's has really, his time with Mr. Oz really affected him because, one, he doesn't normally do something like this. And two, he's just like, no, Superman didn't save me. If he really cared about me, if he was really my friend and things really mattered, he would have saved me. He would have found it. That's what Superman does, is he saves people. And he's like,
Right.
And John's like, my dad didn't know you were in trouble. If he would have known, he would have came.
No, that was a good moment.
It was a great moment, and it shows another reason why I'm really liking what they're doing with John.
He's
He's the
youth.
Yeah, he didn't freak out, and he was like, no,
true.
like my dad would have saved you. He used to tell me about you all the time. I know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't forget about you. Like, he was like, yeah. I really enjoyed what they did with John in here, and overall, like, I definitely can't wait until the next issue. Like, I'm excited.
No doubt.
Even though I know who it is, I'm excited.
That's what's up. That's good, though. That's good. Sweet. Well, you want to move on to our next book?
Yep, let's do it. All right, that'll bring us to our next book of the evening, which is going to be Inhumans versus X-Men number 6. Finally wrapping up this little arc. This was written by Jeff Lemire and Charles Soule.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. With pencils by Linnell Francis Yu. Linnell was also on inks, along with Gary Alu-Gillian and David Carell as colorist. We picked up this issue with where 5 left off, with the final showdown between the Inhumans and the X-Men, or the mutant clan, we should just call them at this point. And we had the standoff with Magneto holding the Blackbird over everybody. Yeah.
To nowhere.
Yeah,
I didn't even.
They set it up at the end like something was going to happen with that Blackbird, seriously, and then nothing.
Nothing.
What a bummer.
Yeah, I didn't even see Magneto there, to be honest with you, the first time I read through this book. I just kind of assumed he was off panel doing it, and now I see where he is.
Like hovering, standing on it, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Like, that's who's standing on the Blackbird.
Like the biggest blue balls moment of this book. Like, he's holding them hostage with this plane. You get all excited. What's going to happen next? Nothing.
And Emma's just there smiling all crazy.
Emma's cheesing because she loves being half naked in the cold.
Yep.
And then at that moment, that's when the royal family essentially appears, and that's when we realize we're not getting anything from that Blackbird with Magneto.
Yeah.
Like, immediately, it's just destroyed, and he's pretty much knocked out.
He gets knocked out, yep.
It's in 3 tiny frames.
Yeah.
And boom. Oh, great.
And boom, Magneto's down. So
big moment to end the last issue. That last issue, it ended on this big moment that led to nothing.
Well, I don't know who thought it was a big moment. I thought it was kind of lame, but
yeah.
Well, I thought it was gonna like something big was gonna happen, but.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The last book was pretty lame, so that was a big moment in that book.
Yeah, you weren't the
it was
biggest
like,
fans.
something big might actually be getting ready to happen.
I guess something big technically did happen with the Super Sentinels, but
we're get to that. Get to that because I definitely got something to say about that.
Oh boy.
But of course, after Magneto was knocked out, we have the standoff between the Inhumans and the X-Men, and this is pretty much when the decision is made to the idea is thrown out that maybe this isn't really the fight that they thought it was in the beginning, and this is pretty much when everybody starts to realize Emma Frost has lost her mind, because she's like, this is what it always was about. This is what it was always leading to.
And the Cuckoo Sisters are wasted during this entire event.
And what's funny is because when we did the last issue, didn't we talk about the Cuckoo Sisters? And then all of a sudden they're here and they're waiting.
But they don't do anything. Like, they could help control Emma or something, and they're mentioned and then forgotten.
Yeah. But throughout the whole series,
I just had a interesting thought about Emma, like in terms of her insanity, to like all these years, like way back to like early 2000s, late 90s, like all these years, she spent this time like becoming a good person, and it was all because of Scott, right? Like she had this relationship with Cyclops, and she spent all these years with him, kind of playing like consolation prize, like, you know, because he was not her number one choice, but this is who he ended up with, and she spends all these years with them, and they're in love with each other on and off, and they go through all this shit together, and then he dies from the Mpox, like such a cheap way to die, you know what I mean? Like someone who's like technically like one of the loves of her life, just like right there, boom. So I mean, I can kind of see the motivation for her, like going, like snapping.
That they just wanted to kind of wipe that Scott Summers away from this whole timeline.
Yeah, they needed to.
Yeah,
they needed to wipe that out. I do think they should have done it in a grander scale, because even though I was screaming kill Cyclops from the first issue of Death of X, even at the end I was still kind of like, yeah, that's kind of not how I would have wanted him to die.
It would have been cool if Black Bolt. It would have been sweet if Black Bolt would have wiped him out.
That would have been way sweeter.
Yeah, I would have preferred if that's how he actually did die. If Black Bolt really did kill him, that would have been a grander death for me.
And make the stakes higher in this story.
Yeah, than him dying off panel in the first issue of a 4-issue arc.
It's so disappointing. I mean, think about Cyclops for a minute. All the things he's been through. I mean, alone in the past 15 years, never mind the history over him being a character, but alone in the last 15 years, he has like this epic tale that was being told, and he just dies in the first, like, everyone's supposed to wait for this missing, like, 8 months where, you know, nobody knew why he was being called, what he was called, or how he died, and it's like, it's a bust, you know?
And what was funny is, like I said, I screamed for them to kill him, but as soon as I saw how they killed him, I was kind of like, that was a letdown, because I looked at it more of the entire history of Cyclops, and I was like, Cyclops was the first X-Men. Like, he was the original guy. So it was like, that was kind of disrespectful to his legacy as a character to kill him like that.
Straight up.
Even if they turned him into, you know, a jerk that I didn't like in the comics at this point. Like, at this point in time before he died, I did not like Cyclops. But even then, I think he deserved a little bit more respect with how they killed him. Because it's like, he coughed once and then he disappeared and died off panel. And then we weren't told that he died off panel until like the last page of the art.
Oh boy.
So I would agree with you. Like, you do kind of, if you really think about it, you do sympathize with why she went crazy, but she just went crazy and embraced it.
Oh yeah, she totally embraced it. I mean, she was a bad guy, a villain for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the White Queen. And now I don't know what she's going to be called now. Maybe the Black Queen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we get to that too. Oh, that part had me like, she's really nuts now.
Really is.
Man. But yeah, of course, you know, her making that decision though, that, you know, saying that this is what it led up to, and the one moment the Cuckoos do get used in this series was by Emma to start taking over some of the Inhumans to kind of shift the tides of this battle.
Yeah, it's just more fighting, and I don't know how else to say it. It's just random fights that and for me personally, it's just hard to tell what's going on in each.
Because it's very sporadic.
It really is. I'm looking at it now. I'm getting that same feeling.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're attempting to show that this is like an epic battle and there's all these Inhumans and mutants and everything, but like everyone's saying, it's so scattered that you're kind of like, okay, what's going on in this panel? And then we get over here, like, okay, well, where are they in relation to everybody else? And like, they attempted it, but I don't think they really capitalized on what they were trying to do.
No, and like the fight scene where Black Bolt kind of comes out of nowhere and Emma Frost like stabs him, like that, I thought that was another wasted moment to get Black Bolt out of the picture.
Oh god,
because she just puts her hand right through him, and I
know where she just goes full diamond and stabs him.
Yeah, and I don't know why Black Bolt would try to, you know, come up from behind, because, you know, he knows that she's
he
fast
doesn't.
enough.
His voice isn't working. Remember? His voice isn't working anymore. Remember?
Yeah,
they
but
had that
he should probably sit back.
Down his gullet.
He should probably sit back then.
Hey, his voice is gone, and she had him locked up in a tank He's not sitting out. He's going to try to fight this one. He's jumping in this battle. But with no powers, it probably would have been smart. Maybe try to sneak a corner, because he kind of does just like dive head first, like hey.
And he could have waited for Karnak and Lockjaw to show up to knock her out.
Or that. Or that.
I have so many things to say about this book, and none of them are nice. Like when I
Unfortunately, yeah.
See, that's the opposite of me. I have nothing to say about it just because I really have no feelings about it. I just care so little. Like I just wanted it to end, and the way it ended just made me have literally no feelings. Not like I don't have a strong hate for it because, you know, I wasn't invested enough to care, basically.
After the second issue, I started to get worried.
I'm very invested in all things X-Men.
Yeah, I started getting worried in the third issue, but yeah, I was invested because it relates to the X-Men. I don't really care about the Inhumans, but I've always loved the X-Men. So
the X-Men were one of the reasons I, started reading comics, but between slugging through Bendis's crap and then dealing with this 8 months later stuff, like, it's really given me nothing super interesting to read in almost 2.5 years. And then this book with just kind of really the X-Men getting their tails handed to them doesn't help change that,
Yeah,
it doesn't make me want to read the next batch of books that are so scattered that you can't tell which one is pretty much the main one. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at right now.
I think X-Men Gold is the main one. I think that was pretty, and I think the secondary one is X-Men Blue.
Which one is the main one? Nobody even knows. They're not letting you know that they just released teams and they're releasing pages, but they haven't come out and said these are the two that are the main stories, and these are the side stories for the characters you may or may not like.
I was thinking it was going to be like
going to drop it all out and hope you buy it all.
Like historically, the X-Men Gold team was like the main book of the time, and the X-Men Blue team was the secondary book. You know what I mean? Like that's how it was back in the day when they had Blue and Gold. Well, not just 30 years ago, but it was back in the 91 Claremont Lee run. They had the Blue team and the Gold team.
Yeah, when they first announced them, that's what I brought up to Ryan. Like they used to have Blue because Cyclops led what was the Blue team?
Yeah, the Blue team.
And Storm led the Gold team.
And yeah, that was Uncanny X-Men. So, I mean, that's how they just weren't called, the titles weren't X-Men Blue or Gold, but in the book they were called the Blue Team and the Gold Team.
Right, then they decide to release Astonishing.
Yeah, which is one of the other third main titles. Like through the years, the main titles of X-Men have switched between Uncanny and then regular X-Men, and then they changed that title to X-Men Legacy, and then
Treasure Hunt.
Then wasn't it New X-Men?
Which regular X-Men also got changed to New X-Men when Morrison, and then Astonishing X-Men, which is the third major title in the series, which they also switched over to. I've researched X-Men, the history of it, till my eyes bled. So
that's understandable.
But yeah, I mean, I think that Gold is going to be the main title, and I don't think we could do any worse than we have in the past 2 years with Lemire and Hopeless. I mean, that name speaks for itself on the all new X-Men, and Uncanny with Cullen Bunn, because even that wasn't that great. Like they were all stale. Extraordinary was stale, and all new was like childish. Like I didn't really like it that much. So
I kind of liked it when they first started going back in time with that series, but I kind of got lost out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Bagley art. Definitely not in that series. I hope he does better on Scarlet Spider. But I'm excited for Adrian Saif and Jorge Molina on Gold and Blue, respectively. And then, what's his name? Jim Chung, who did Clone Conspiracy on Astonishing. I mean, that all sounds really exciting to me. The writers are another story.
Yeah, but
that's going to be a revolving art team. That's not going to be Jim Chung doing everything.
I mean, it rarely is these days. I mean, in any book from.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. It's a book.
We've been noticing that
they have side plans for, and it's not like that. That's my problem.
DC's the same
flooding
way, right?
a market that they don't.
There's no
plan.
Titles there's no plan for it.
No, but I mean, the same thing could be said for like DC with different artists on each book. I mean, even like Detective have had like 6 artists like over the course of the time.
You shut up. We're not going to talk about the Harley Quinn artists. Like that's just ridiculous on that book.
Yeah, I've never read Harley Quinn. I don't know.
They've gotten to a point on Harley Quinn where they have like 2 to 3 artists doing a book, and they're like one artist to do like pages 1 through 3, and then another one to do like 4 through 5, and then they're alternate like 6 and 7. Like it's weird.
Do you guys notice like that's been going on so much lately in DC and Marvel and like mainstream books? That's been going on. Even inkers, like I'll see 3 inkers, 2 colorists on a book. But the only place I never see that happen is like creator-owned titles.
Yeah,
like
Valiant, Image, yep.
Yeah, I never see that there. But in the big 2, like some main writers for either Marvel or DC put more effort forth on their independent projects than they do on their mainstream books.
They really do.
I think they might have more books, more titles than they have artists, and so they're trying to spread everybody around on everything so that they can cover everything.
Yeah, that and everybody's overstretched these days. You got artists drawing 3-4 books a month. Some are bi-weekly. You got writers writing 7-9 titles. Some are bi-weekly.
That's what I mean. Like the publishers themselves will put out like, let's just say 52 books. Do 52. Let's just say 52 books, but they've only got maybe 12 to 15 artists. They've only got maybe 8 or 9 actual full-time writers. So like you said, they're stretching them out between like 6 and 7 books apiece.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, back to this book though.
Back to this book. We have this crazy nonsensical battle going on that's a little confusing, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, what is his name? Ahura?
Yeah.
The son? Yeah, Ahura, the son that was spoken of in the last issue of Black Ball and Medusa shows up with his reinforcements, and he actually has the device that they have built, the Terrigen eating device that Moon Girl and Forge. Yeah, that Forge had planned out in the last issue, and they let her know that they let Medusa know that the mutants are doing this because they feel that they're backed into a corner. Terrigen is going to saturate the planet and it's going to kill them. This is their final stand.
And this is a huge plot hole because this whole time,
hold on. Let me get this last part out and then we'll jump inside how big this plot hole is. But Moon Girl tells her like this is their last stand. We've created this device to actually get rid of the Terrigen, but it's not up to us to actually make the decision whether we should do it or not. Since you're ruler of the Inhumans, this decision needs to be up to you. Now we can get into the fact that that's a huge plot hole because she's known from the beginning
the whole time
that the mutants were doing this because they were threatened by the Terrigen. She's known this as Death of X. Even in the 0 issue of Inhumans versus X-Men, where Beast and ISO spent almost a year trying to figure out a way to get rid of this, to not make the issue for the mutants. So she's known this, and they drop it on her, and she acts surprised, and then she really takes the time and like thinks about it and has a little like monologue about it. It makes no sense whatsoever. No sense.
Meanwhile, there's a big plot thread going on in the tie-in book that's never even referenced or mentioned in the main series, whereas Maximus getting the recipe to create new Terrigen crystals. Oh my god!
Are you serious? That's one of the tie-ins?
It's the Uncanny Inhumans tie-in. That's what the story has been all about.
Oh my goodness!
Fucking treasure hunts.
There was no point to make this long then. There was like 0 point to have this be 6 issues.
Nope. So dumb. It's Maximus. This guy called Lineage. I think his name's Lineage because he can call up like past members in his family line within the Inhumans.
The Inhumans even have the worst names ever.
Yeah, they do. They're just bad. Oh god, and they're still trying to push him too. But this whole thing at the end with Medusa, I'm speechless. I have so many things to say.
No,
negative things to say that I can't say anything at all because I can't get any of them out because there are so many.
And I'm just floored that you just said that because I've only read one tie-in, and that was the one that had to do with how young Cyclops was letting all of this affect him.
Yeah, that was the all-new X-Men one. I've read them all, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, to know that there's a tie-in out there that has a solution that would have ended this in like a page of dialogue bothers me.
Well, the worst part is like not all the Inhumans know about it. Like there's one particular member of the royal family in the last Uncanny Inhumans tie-in who found out and could let them know, but like Maximus is kind of doing this as like a side mission because he wants to be the big hero because he's a scumbag. But even still, it's just so dumb to let like this war go on, and like it could have been solved so quicker. And to have Medusa just press this button after she's known the whole time that this is all she would have had to done, and everything that they've done was for nothing. Like
nothing.
Cyclops, like everything was for nothing. Like all this pain and suffering and this next Armageddon for mutants out of like the past 30 years, like every 2 years is an Armageddon for mutants, and like we had to go through another one for no reason whatsoever.
One that could have actually been averted. Like,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Like this is like really just still stunning me because it's like a small conversation. Let them destroy the Terrigen clouds. We'll make Terrigen crystals and just go back to how we used to create Inhumans. And everybody's happy. Oh my goodness.
Well, like, oh god, and there's an epilogue to this too. Like, the story's like, I mean, it did kind of end, but at the same time, it's still not even over because
which is ridiculous.
There's another tie-in coming out next week, Uncanny X-Men. I think I don't know if it's a tie-in or it's just going to be an end to their story, and then there's Uncanny Inhumans the week after. So.
Oh, of course it's not over because these events now are like extended and just broken up into subsections. So this will go obviously all the way into Resurrection too, probably.
Oh yeah.
Like all of this is still just basically be one long event, just with different chapters. And this chapter just happens to be Chapter 2, Inhumans versus X-Men.
But yeah.
Oh man, that bothered me.
Let's keep getting into this, boy.
All right, well, obviously with this revelation apparently to Medusa. She's so stunned that this is what they're fighting for, that they're really fighting for their life, that she decides to press the button and destroy the Terrigen Cloud, despite what her fellow Inhumans would think of her. And, pretty much you think that this may be the end of the issue, unless you see how thick the book is, then you realize it's not. But with the Terrigen destroyed, Emma Frost essentially says like, no, we need to keep fighting, and everyone else, including the Storm, is kind of like, well, it's over. This is what we were fighting for. And Emma obviously is like, no, we were fighting for Cyclops. They killed Cyclops, like they killed my husband.
This feels like they just needed to finish adding pages to the book to make
extended.
What they charge for this one? $4.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was $4.99. I never paid this.
So this is how they justified charging you $4.99. They added an extra 10 pages of story here. Nonsense.
Not yeah.
What is it?
Oh yeah, because the nonsense is really coming now. If anybody thought that everything we just talked about was nonsense, the rest of the nonsense is really about to happen. Since Emma kind of figured that something like this might end up happening, she had a contingency plan. And her contingency plan was that she had Super Sentinels built.
Yeah, Forge. Forge is building everything in this story. I don't know where he had time to eat in any of the building he was doing between 4 Super Sentinels,
you guys
2
are
Terrigen machines.
You're missing the biggest fuck up of all time here, which is Cyclops blowing up Emma's spot, not even with the correct thing to blow up her spot about. It says Black Bolt didn't kill Cyclops. He died in an accident before we knew that Terrigen Cloud could even hurt mutants. That is not even true. And that's not even what Cyclops found out in that all-new issue. The actual story. Like, where is this coming from?
Oh, man. I didn't even catch that.
Me either. Oh, shit.
Oh, wow. And I should have caught that because I was telling you, Ron, I was telling you, like, about that tie-in issue and how surprised he was and how he couldn't wait to get to Emma, confront Emma. Mm-hmm. And then he does, and it's like...
And I'm thinking, like, who's writing this thing? Who's editing this thing?
Did you guys read the last couple of issues? Did you read any of the tie-ins? Like, do you know what's really going on?
I know. Oh, my God. The worst part is Lemire wrote some of the tie-ins, and he should know better most of all because he's one of the biggest architects of this story. And the ball was just supremely dropped, especially in not just with the overall story, but especially in this moment, because this is one of the biggest things that they based this whole entire event around, between Death of X and IVX. And in the end moments where, you know, Cyclops supposedly supposed to reveal this truth that Black Bolt didn't kill Scott, they didn't even get the friggin' details right.
Yeah, that's sad.
4 months ago, like what was this, like 6 months ago that this happened, and they forgot?
Was this Cyclops died at this point? It was a year ago.
Yeah,
it was in the 8-month gap.
But the thing is that when the X-Men got there before Cyclops even died, you know, he did message back and say, "Hey, Terrigen is dangerous to mutants. It's killing them," and then he died.
Yeah,
that was the last thing he did.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was wow.
I mean, even her backup plan.
Well, I was going to say, I think the fact that she called in Super Sentinels blocked out what Cyclops said in my mind.
Yeah, it really was, because I was just like, this is ridiculous. You're like, you have a 2.2 act going on right now. Like,
the Super Sentinels.
The Super Sentinels. They were kind of cool looking, though, right?
They were cool.
I did like the design. I did like the design of them, but it was just the fact that she secretly had Super Sentinels built, and it was like Emma spent almost a year. Like she spent 11 months probably planning all of this, and like yeah, I'm gonna make some Sentinels. I'm gonna reprogram them to kill Inhumans. Yeah. That's a plan.
Think about it for a minute. 4 gigantic Sentinels. Where was she hiding them? She had to mind control Forge to build them. How long did it take Forge to build by himself these gigantic 4 Sentinels? Didn't anyone noticing him missing from X-Haven, an otherworldly dimension? Like he was in limbo half the time.
He was never sleeping.
Yeah. When did he skimper off from the limbo to build these 4 gigantic Super Sentinels?
Nobody noticed anything.
Nobody questions it. Not to mention that, like, Emma's not a part of the main X team that he's a part of. Like, she doesn't have free access to X-Haven to Limbo whenever she wants, you know? So, like, how did she accomplish this feat?
And how did she even convince him to do it?
Right, like, well, the government could build one of these things, like a prototype with, like 60 guys in, like, a year or two, but yet Forge, by himself, built 4. Like...
In secret.
Yeah, in secret.
While he was doing everything else.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, boy.
I mean, Forge is a smart guy.
Oh, God. This book.
Well, once the Super Sentinels drop down and Emma decides that she's going to ride one of them Power Ranger style, she basically says, like, you know, all you have to do with Sentinels, if you do a couple of reprogramming here and there, they go from hunting mutants to hunting Inhumans, and that's when the Sentinels just started going crazy, and she realizes, like, this probably should have been plan A. I should have ran with this from the start. And this is also about the point that Magneto finally wakes back up and gets back into the comic. But,
Emma had control of him, I guess. I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know how his helmet got knocked off, so it didn't, like, that's the big thing, right? And Magneto wears that so he doesn't get mind controlled.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's magically off here.
How the hell did that happen?
Well, you know what? You know what's funny? If you go back to when he got knocked out, when the royal family first appeared, the last panel, you actually see him falling with no helmet. You see his helmet next to him in the air.
Oh, right.
In that small panel.
Yeah, they established it, but they established it in a very small panel.
Oh, man. What was the worst moment at the end of this Super Sentinel moment? The worst moment, what was it? When, oh, man. When friggin' Black Bolt's, like, carrying Medusa and all the Inhumans are all, like, in awe. And they're like, oh, my God, they're back together.
Let's wait for that, because that was a hilarious moment.
I cringed.
Yeah.
I cringed so hard I pulled a muscle.
but by this point, Magneto has no helmet. He is under control, which is not really established very well right off the jump. Because at first, I wasn't sure if he just was like, I'm still siding with Emma. And then I was like, oh, no helmet. She's controlling him.
Yeah, it's his eyeballs too. He's got the glowing white eyeballs.
Yeah.
And he does break out of it. He does get out of it thanks to some help from well, no, he just straight broke out of it, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
he broke out of it, and they destroyed the Sentinels, and it's pretty much down to Medusa and Emma. And this is one of the parts I thought was kind of interesting, was the conversation between Medusa and Emma, and the fact that Medusa's like, well, you can't use your mental powers while you're in Diamond, but you're not invincible in that Diamond form.
Yeah, she like squeezes a piece of a diamond off of her too, though.
Yeah, and for a minute, I thought she was just going to shatter Emma. Like, I thought she was going to break her, and this is going to be the end of Emma Frost.
See, I thought that. Well, I didn't. It's not what happened, but I thought that was going to start helping. I don't know. Medusa doesn't have mind powers, right? I don't really know her powers.
I thought it was just the hair.
It's just the hair.
Which is friggin' lame. So lame.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really, like I said, I don't really have a lot of thoughts. I have no emotional connection to it. I find it's weird. Havoc is here, and he's like just randomly helping random people, and you don't really know why or nothing.
Because in the last issue,
he explains it though. He does explain why he was helping, because he says he was doing it for Cyclops. Like this, doing this to honor.
But why
Cyclops.
didn't he fight the Inhumans last issue?
Exactly. Exactly.
He's fighting the Inhumans here. He's doing it for Scott. He could have done it for Scott last issue, but he chose not to.
I think because he knows the truth. He knows it's really known, because they technically they didn't kill Cyclops.
And he's pretty much like through this whole little tiny battle, the only thing he did here was save Emma. Like, I think the whole purpose of him here was just to make sure like his purpose was just to make sure that Emma didn't get hurt, which is still kind of like a lame use of Havoc. Like, Havoc is a badass.
Yeah,
this is what we get. So like, explained or not explained, it's all around a lame thing. In this book.
Even with what I said in mine, it is still lame that he's like, oh, I'm just going to show up to help Emma.
Dope. So, but like, oh man.
But he helps Emma, frees her, and then he gives her distraction to escape. And then that's when he flashes to the epilogue.
Wrote in on.
That's when we get to Emma's wonderful new costume.
Well, before we get right to her wonderful new costume, we see them freeing Beast, and we kind of see the pieces, I guess, of them trying to pick things up after what just happened. And then, we are revealed of Emma's stunning new costume.
It's like, hey, no harm, no foul. Cool beans.
This is over.
I forget who's doing the narration here. Is that Medusa?
Yeah,
it's Medusa doing the narration. Yeah.
You don't really find out till the last page.
No, I skipped to the back so I could like get a voice, because I like to have a voice. So I'm like, who the hell's talking here? And I'm like, oh, it's Firecrotch. Like, it's great.
Yeah, they pretty much end this so that she seems like a hero, but she pretty much started the whole conflict.
She's supposed to be seen as a hero, but she ends up looking equally, almost as bad as Captain Marvel in Civil War.
Wow.
Yeah, a little less. She wasn't such a Nazi.
Yeah.
Throughout the thing, but she pretty much hid things, took credit for solving it, and then pretends to be a hero with Black Bolt, and she decides they're going to get back together. I don't know.
Yeah, Medusa. Poor Johnny.
Oh yeah,
right?
I felt bad for Johnny. Like, he can't get it because things fell apart obviously with him and Crystal, and now things fell apart with him and Medusa.
It's so messed up. Because she's like, oh, after this big conflict, and Johnny stood by her through this whole entire thing, and after this whole bullshit, she's just like, oh, Johnny, peace, I'm sorry, man. I gotta go back with
I gotta get back with my husband.
And just
Black
before
Bolt,
that,
whatever his name is.
Yeah,
whatever.
They're gonna go on a space vacation together.
Yeah, and that's what's next. They're gonna go off into space. So it's like,
and just before that, before they're leaving, they pass a torch to the new humans.
Yeah, let's cancel all Inhumans books. Let's put them back on the moon and only bring them in a new Fantastic Four book. Let's just do that and just forget about it altogether.
Yeah, oh man.
The Fantastic Four
what if that's what's going to happen?
are creating the multiverse still. They are off busy somewhere.
It's sad though, because like classically that's where the Inhumans come. Like they haven't really had too many runs of their own series. Like more or less they've always just been featured in other books.
Well,
like,
if you want to hear this, I mean, we can all blame the Fantastic Four for the Inhumans being popular at this point in time, because Mr. Fantastic is the one that created this new 616 Earth, so it's all his damn fault.
it is. God damn you, Reed.
Right.
He never learns his lesson.
He felt bad for the Inhumans. He's like, these guys need a shot. I feel bad for them.
Sending Hulk into space, the Council of Reeds. Like, there are so many countless debacles started by Reed Richards. Like, that goddamn son of a bitch. Like,
That's why I took him off the map for a while.
Yeah.
It's like, we got
That's a good place for him, if you ask me. He can stay in prison as long as the Inhumans are popular.
And
Yeah,
what's
once
up
the
with
humans
this,
go away.
the Cyclops-esque helmet that Emma is wearing? Like,
Yeah, when I first saw that threw me off. I was like, what in the world? Like, she has a Cyclops. She has like a Magneto Cyclops helmet now.
yeah. I don't know
It
what
didn't make
purpose
sense.
it serves.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to
aside
me.
from Memorial for Cyclops, but I
The
heard
whole-
some teases that she might be the first villain of like X-Men Blue or something.
Ugh.
She probably is, because at this point she's officially gone all the way over the edge and has lost all of it. Like there's nothing left. She's completely broken.
I look at that situation like her being the villain in like the first arc of X-Men Blue, if that's to be true, because it's just a rumor as of now. I look at that as equally as bad as like Batwoman starting with the subject matter that came out of the Monster Men. Like, you're taking a poison-filled event and injecting it into a new series early on. Like, don't you want it to survive?
Right.
Like, seriously.
Maybe she's gonna try to reform a new Hell Club.
Yeah, maybe she'll be the Black Queen instead of the
Yeah,
White Queen.
she got the black one, so now she's appointing herself as the head, and maybe
That
that's gonna
might
be
be
like
cool.
you said.
That might be cool. Like, they have so much opportunity to do cool things. Let's just see if the new writers do them, you know? I mean, supposedly they want to bring everything back to be like classic X-Men, so hopefully.
I think if they did that, they need to sit her out. Like, she shouldn't actually be participating in anything. Like, just sit her out. Let the new, if it is the case, let the new Hellfire Club, you know, hire or bring on some underlings to try to do, you know, whatever their plan is. But don't involve Emma too much. Like, we need a break from Emma for a while.
That's a good idea. Maybe like build it in the background and have like, you know, bosses in the arcs like lackeys or somebody else, and they just don't know Emma's in the background and control of it. And then one day, surprise.
Yeah, and then maybe they slowly start figuring out, like, you know, all of these are related somehow. And then, like you said, one day all of a sudden it's just, oh, it's Emma.
That might be cool.
This ending just didn't make sense, though. Like,
No.
Yeah,
Yes, it did
and
too.
it doesn't make me, like I said, it doesn't make me excited for the next batch of books. Like it's supposed to.
It made sense because Inhuman fans were upset that Black Bolt and Medusa were not together, and now they're back together, and it's beautiful.
Is that
You
right?
heard you heard the Inhumans. It's beautiful seeing them together.
You know what though? I could see that. I mean, what are if the royal family is not together, like if Black Bolt and Medusa aren't, like that's one of the things that the Inhumans has, like the royal family. So like if they've been broken apart with like the Uncanny Inhumans and like for the past almost 2 years, so it's like you're trying to push the Inhumans and it's not really the Inhumans, you know, like they're pushing something on people that isn't what it was when people actually liked it. So like
cared for it, yeah.
And when we started this, I didn't know that they had broke them apart. And when I learned that, I was kind of like, well, that's not really the Inhumans, because that's like, you know, the first thing I think of when I do think of Inhumans is the royal family, and specifically Black Bolt and Medusa. And if they're not together, that kind of doesn't make sense. It's not the Inhumans.
Yeah, essentially it seems like they just did a lot of resetting. I mean, we got the old Scott gone, the old Emma's back, and now the Black Bolt's with Medusa and that whole royal family thing. So this all just seemed to... This whole event so far, it's a funny thing to say. It's kind of like it seems just like a rebirth for these...
It's funny that you said that, because one of the discussions I had earlier with somebody was about the official upcoming Marvel version of Rebirth, and I said, like, well, they're already doing a Rebirth now with the X-Men, so they're doing a double Rebirth. They're doing a separate Rebirth with the X-Men, and then they're doing their own version of Rebirth with the rest of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation about what they're trying to do. They're trying to like copy something, like try to do like what DC did. Like they want to bring back like the classic shit of Marvel to like make fans happy. But you need the talent to do that, and they just don't have the talent. Like,
and you need the lead up to be,
I mean,
very strong and with a lot of hype behind it.
I've never read an Al Ewing book, but I know one thing about him is that like he's never really had a series that went past issue 12, and you got him writing Royals. I mean, John Boy Myers quit Teen Titans, which I wish he stayed, and now he's going to be drawing the Royal Family book where they go back out into space. And then I don't even know who's on Black Bolt, like the book Black Bolt. I don't know the writer, I don't know the artist, so I have no anticipation.
Doesn't matter. It'll be canceled in 6 issues anyway.
Yeah,
and
you're probably
that
right.
sounds about right.
Unless it finds like some like artistically like some niche audience, like yeah, you're definitely right. And then so you got that'll be gone, and then you just have Royals, which is going to be like the main Inhumans titles, like Uncanny Inhumans. So we'll see how that does. And then there's Secret Warriors, which is like all the new humans, like which is funny because Quake is not a new human, but Quake is on the team, and like I think like ISO and Inferno and Grid and all those people like. Anyway. And Karnak. I think Karnak like leads the team maybe or something. I don't know. Oh boy.
Finally give Karnak something to do.
Yeah. Oh god. So I'm not really and that's part of Resurrection, right? Like because it's going to be part of like the Resurrection timeline. They like want to lump X-Men and Inhumans together, and they're going to have that Inhumans Prime book that kicks it all off, just like they're going to have X-Men Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that dropping this month, X-Men Prime, or is it next month?
I think it's next month.
Yeah, that's that's all these two events were. FFX and Inhumans versus X-Men. All they really were a setup to that.
To Resurrection, yeah. It was like
it's just setting up to Resurrection.
Just like that's all these events are. Like we live in a constant state of perpetual events, and they're no longer crossover stories events. This is just going to be like how it is, like events that lead to new stories, and oh god, like bigger stories that lead to these events that lead to new stories, and it's just going to keep going on. And it used to be like once a year, once every 2 years. Now it's like
back.
Yeah,
that's why I said fatigue at the beginning of this, because it's event fatigue. We get tired of there being 4 or 5 events a year. Like, give us a break. Like maybe have one event every couple of years.
Like DC did just now. Like they had a crossover or two, but JL versus SS, Justice League Suicide Squad's the only event they've had in like the past year. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, and give us some time to breathe. Tell us some good stories. If you spend time telling good stories and building up characters and building up, these new characters you want them popular. Yeah, then we can care when the event happens, and it makes it feel like, it really is high stakes.
Right? Like, think about it. You just had Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, which I was a little bit excited for, but I didn't feel like it was built up to be like a universe-changing event, which it wasn't.
No.
We said that.
We got another event coming up in the summer, that Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo thing, which I heard is already which is already causing troubles with Reborn. I don't know if they're going to have troubles with that, because if Capullo can't even get a issue 6 of Reborn finished, like, what are we going to do if this is supposed to go over the summer? But at least it's not like all the time,
Right.
So like, because Rebirth is a planned 2-year experience with an end in mind at the end of the 2 years. I don't know what that's going to be, supposedly the Watchmen, but at least we have something to be excited towards. So like when we see an event, we know what it's building towards. With Marvel, it just seems to be like a bunch of random crap. Like, let's have an event.
Number ones.
Yeah. And what sucks to me is I think that some of their event ideas are solid enough, but since they're rushing trying to do so many events and stack them back to back, they fell on the execution.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Poorly executed. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you guys got anything else for this, really?
No.
Yeah.
I just don't know what X books I'm going to be picking, if any, for a while, to be honest. I'm just tired of reading about it. It just is crappy.
This is definitely a disappointment, and it didn't renew the excitement that I thought it was going to have for me for the upcoming X books. Like, there's a couple I am excited to see.
This does nothing
like
for
Generation
me.
X, but this, yeah.
This does nothing for me to speak to the resurrection. Like, I was just to me, this is just an obstacle to get past so I can get to resurrection. Like, this has no bearing on the way I'm going to view the new X books, and I'm looking forward to a lot of them. Like, I'm definitely picking up Blue, Gold, Weapon X, and Astonishing. Those are 4, like,
definitely
right off the bat.
Giving them a try. But...
Yeah, I have to agree.
I'm gonna give Iceman a try, but
I think I'm gonna do Blue, Gold, Weapon X, and definitely Generation X.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for Generation X.
Who's on that too?
We do.
I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't, did they release who's like the team on it, or did they just release like the fact that they're doing it?
Oh, they announced the creative teams for everything. Like, I think like a couple months ago.
Yeah, so they're
that means we probably talked about it like a month or so ago then.
Like, it's Greg Pak and Greg Land on Weapon X, and that's why they're doing the Hulk crossover, because Greg Pak is on the Hulk and blah blah.
Which I'm not really excited for.
Hulk
Weapons of
Mutant
Destruction.
Kill me now.
They're like, hey, that Logan movie's doing well.
Destruction story. I'm good.
That Logan movie did well. Let's throw Wolverine on everything.
Yeah, let's put him in everything.
No. He's in too many books. That's part of the other reason. Like, that's the one guy I enjoyed following in the X-Men, and now he's in 6 books, and I don't care anymore either.
And you know what's funny is that was the issue they had with the original 616 Wolverine. They had the issue that he was in too many books.
Yeah, he's in X-Men Avengers. His Wolverines. He's got like 3 different Wolverine books.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to read.
That was worse. That was way worse than what we have now. But
right, I was gonna say it's gonna be hard to read Old Man Logan after Lemire leaves.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. They're changing his main writer, who's wrote him for 24 issues, and then they're throwing him in 4 random books. A loner on 4 different teams. Like, that makes no sense to me, and that's why I have no interest.
I think they're like throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Like, we don't know what's gonna happen to Old Man Logan when Lemire is gone. So, like, if it's not good in that, maybe it'll be good in Astonishing, and if it's not, maybe it'll be good in Gold, and if it's not, maybe it'll be good in Weapon X. Maybe one of these.
See, Old Man Logan to me doesn't belong in Astonishing, because that looks like a team of killers, and he's been trying to avoid killing people since his creation. It makes no sense.
The Astonishing should have been X-Force. I think it should have been an X-Force book, because like that team doesn't scream X-Men; it screams X-Force. Like, it screams all covert people. Murder.
That's is
that the Astonishing title? I was trying to think which one was the Astonishing title.
That's it. I'm still excited because the creative team's good, but
that was the one that I called for. Remember, Ryan? I said that his team was probably going to have like some of the people from the Wolverines miniseries.
Oh, like Phantom X and
yeah, that series was horrible.
Reminds me, he's got like half of the. What has he got? Like half of the Uncanny X-Force on there. I mean, if you.
I want to hold on a sec. Hold on. I have to defend Wolverines. The Wolverines miniseries was not completely terrible, and the only reason I'm saying this is because it led X-23 down the road to become the new Wolverine.
Yeah, well, if that came out, the good idea of that came out of a bad book. That's what I'll say.
Yes. Okay. Okay. In that case, we can totally agree then on what that series was.
Are you talking about Wolverines with like?
Yeah, they had like Death Strike and Dakin and everybody.
Yeah. I heard mixed feelings on that, so I didn't pick it up.
Like, it had some slight moments, but for me, that was the biggest thing for it. Was it led Laura down the path to deciding that she was going to take Logan's place.
And that was Charles Soule and Ray Fawkes, right?
No, that was a weekly book. It was written by a bunch of different people.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Those were the names I saw on Amazon for the authors. It was, I think.
That's like how Scott Snyder wrote Batman Eternal. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's like Snyder and Tinian.
They were trying to capitalize on the death of Wolverine as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Which was a mistake. That was a mistake, killing him.
You know what? Wolverine's one of my favorite characters, and I was always wondering why they were going to kill him or how they were going to kill him. And I have to admit, the way they killed him actually didn't make me sad, but I do look at it as like that was a mistake. Because
think about it. Like, after it, they bring and I think that's why they didn't care about doing it, because they were like, oh, we're gonna kill Wolverine and we're gonna replace him with an older Wolverine, like that's all they're gonna. So they were like, oh yeah, we're not technically killing him, and they can't bring him back, right? Like that's never gonna happen now unless Old Man Logan goes away.
They can figure a way.
Magneto could pull that crap off of him.
They could pull it off, but it would be awful. Like if they had two Wolverines roaming around.
Oh, that would be.
They can think about that. Or we still got Reed Richards out there somewhere.
It's already been done once though. Two Cyclops. But with Reed Richards, it's an alternate universe, right? Like you got the ultimate Reed Richards running around. He's gonna be he's the villain in Infamous Iron Man.
Infamous Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah. That's who the villain is there. So it's gonna be Reed versus Reed versus Doom, which I'm really excited for that.
Same here. We need to get Brandon on that. This Infamous Iron Man show.
I won't read it.
That will never happen.
Bendis lost me on Iron Man on issue 7 of his first volume of Iron Man.
It's completely different, though. It's not that
I
kind
don't
of
care.
book
I have read enough Bendis books in my life and not enjoyed any of them to not want to pick any more up.
I've been burned.
I have to admit,
Infamous is good.
Infamous is good.
It is.
Yeah.
He has written a lot of good stuff.
It can be good for you guys, but I'm just not... I got enough books to read, and I don't need to throw Bendis books in the pile.
Isn't he also writing Invincible?
He's writing what?
Yeah.
Isn't he also writing Invincible?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he writes all the Iron Men since like All New, All Different.
Yeah,
he writes Invincible and
both of those are good books though. So I can see if maybe you were burnt in the past, but we're telling you like these.
He's been burnt way too much. He's been burnt way too much.
I'm not
honestly, if you didn't like the all new X-Men, you won't like it. Like that's the bottom. Like if you didn't like his all new X-Men run with the Stuart Monin and Marquez and all that, you won't like it.
I didn't like any of his X-Men. I liked a little bit of the Children of the Atom stuff, and that was it.
Okay.
I like some of the all new stuff. Like I like a lot of Bendis stuff, the new Avengers, the Avengers stuff, like older stuff. But in the past 2 years, like all his shit's been like very tiresome to me, except for the 2 Iron Man books that are going right now.
Yeah, I'm not completely sold. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was worried about Defenders. So I mean, because Marquez is going to be.
Yeah,
drawing, so.
I'm a little worried about that. I'm not even really. I should be excited for that title, but I'm really not.
I was just excited to see David Marquez pick up a pencil, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Because his art is astounding.
I'm not completely sold on Invincible Iron Man yet, but I'm like I'm sticking with it to see how it pans out.
I mean, he's got the talent. I mean, you got Infamous, you got Alex Maleev. The art is fantastic in that book. At first, it took me a little while to get used to it, but now it's like I love it.
I love his art, yeah.
And then Stefano Casilli is perfect for Invincible Iron Man for the tone of the book and the way it is. You got 2 books that are like starkly different from each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's what makes them good, is that it's not the same drivel. It was what we get in Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man has been painful to read. It's still painful to read.
It is.
But somehow Infamous Iron Man and Invincible Iron Man are good. So I'm like, all right. I'm excited.
But word. Yeah,
and he's going to join the Avengers, so Doom on the Avengers. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure about that yet.
Yeah, that's...
I know. Let's see what Mark Waid can
They let anybody on the Avengers at this point, so
yeah.
Think about the Avengers in like the past 10 years. They will let anybody on the Avengers. Even X-Men are Avengers now. Like
there's literally not a hero in the Marvel universe that's not on the Avengers or has been.
Or has been.
At some point.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But you guys know how the Marvel Minute guys do it. We're going to see if everyone's going to buy it, borrow it, or forget about it. Then I also want to, with everyone, I want to rate the this whole arc as well. But who wants to start off?
Well, I'll go because I'll be quick. I mean, this would be a forget it for me personally, like issue 6. I couldn't really follow the art. This was an artist that I liked in the beginning of the series, and like this last issue wasn't very good to me, and the story I didn't have much interest in it at this point in the event, which is the last issue, which I should be fully invested in. So it would be a forget it for me, and like just overall for the series, I'd probably give it like just a 6 out of 10. It wasn't the worst, but it was just it was just I read it to get through it, and I don't have anything else to say about it other than that, really.
Understandable.
I agree with that.
Trevitt?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna be quick too because I think I've said everything I could possibly say. I could put it more elegantly, but I don't want to waste my breath on this series. I'd give it a 6.2, but I would say forget it altogether. It's a waste of time. Put it in the back of your mind and just wait for Resurrection.
No doubt.
If you want to read any X-Men. That's it.
Straight up. Alan?
Oh boy, the pressure is on. I would say if anybody was considering, if they hadn't read any of this series and they were considering getting into the series, then I would say just forget about it. Like, just listen to a podcast or watch a video so you know what happened, and then just get ready for Resurrection. For people who are actually already invested into the series, even then, I would suggest you buy this, borrow this, ask a question about what happened. I wouldn't even suggest to really read this. Overall, I would probably agree with the whole arc of the whole series getting 6 at best. I have to say I like this better than Justice League versus Suicide Squad. I do think that it felt like the stakes were greater in this than what it was in that series. But yeah, 6.
Right on. So as a person that was going to trade weight and get this whole thing, I'm saying forget it as well. Each issue, it kind of just started to go downhill way too fast, and this issue just had some one major plot hole that just fucked the whole story. And there was inconsistent art throughout it. Yeah, definitely forget it as well. I'm gonna have to give it a 5.5 just because, again, each issue it kept knocking down points for me, and I wanted to be like super invested into this and see where this all goes, but it led nowhere. And like Brandon said during our conversation, it doesn't really make me excited to go out on Wednesday and get these new books that are coming out after all this. But yeah, that's me. We're all dead. We're all dead inside.
Yeah,
I know.
A piece of us died doing this. Hey, but maybe that piece will be brought back for the Resurrection.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Hopefully, I got gold coming like the first 4 through DCBS, so I ordered them already. So that'll be the one I follow, and if that's good, maybe I'll pick up some other ones after the fact. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
I think if you're gonna pick one up though, I think that would be the one to pick up too, because I've already seen like 4 or 5 pages from the first issue, and it looks great. Like everybody's in like their classic costumes, and the line work's very sharp, and it's beautiful. Like it looks beautiful. Adrian said does a great job. All we need is like Mark Guggenheim to like write a halfway decent story, and it'll be a decent book. You know what I mean? We'll get great art. We'll get fun stuff. Like he says he wants to bring it back. Let's see if he can do it. Yeah. I saw the X-Men Blue art too. That looks pretty cool by Jorge Molina. Looks a little.
What has Mark written? I know he's done some TV stuff, but
Guggenheim's done a ship.
Agent of Shield is the last book I remember him on.
He's done Aquaman. He's done Uncanny X-Men. He's done regular X-Men. He's done Green Arrow. He's done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of
any of
I'm
it
saying
good?
the last Marvel book I remember him on is that Agents of Shield one that kind of loosely was based on the TV cast. Remember that book?
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Yeah,
I saw it. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't read it either, but that's the last Marvel book I remember him like his name being on.
Okay.
I know he has experience with X-Men, so let's see if he can do it. And he does good TV,
I'll give him that.
Couple seasons of every show. Like when you watch a show that he creates and he's involved for the first couple seasons, like the episodes that he writes are usually good. So he did a really cool murder mystery in the Sub Diego storyline for Aquaman in like the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004.
Okay.
And it was really, really good. It was like like a 4-issue arc. It was like a little mini story, and I enjoyed it a lot. So like when I read stories like that and I have hope for someone, like I'm like, oh, that was enjoyable. So I know that they have it in them. Like if they really want to write a good story, that they can. And he's not one of those authors who's out there writing like 4 indies,
5 million books.
Yeah, so we'll see what he could do.
That's what's up. Cool. Well, where can everyone find you guys on the interwebs?
Yeah, we're on Twitter. You can find me on at bmer3660. We got the poll going up tomorrow for the Marvel Monday poll. Or not Marvel Monday, but Marvel Minute poll.
That's the one.
I was blanking there, brain farting on my own podcast segment. So, yeah, that'll go up tomorrow. And then go ahead, Trevitt. Where are they finding you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Afronaddict and on Instagram at Trevitt's Comics.
Awesome. And we definitely want to thank you guys for coming on and speaking with Inhumans versus X-Men. Trevitt, especially you for coming on for the last one, and Branden for sticking through this whole thing with us and getting through
the ups and downs.
Yeah, the ups and downs.
I really did. I wish the book was like the first 2.
Right. Yeah.
Issues, because I really like those 2, and I feel like after they gave the X-Men their moment to shine in those first 2, it was like downhill for them as characters, and I didn't enjoy it much.
No doubt. Yeah, maybe we'll probably if you guys want. Once one of the resurrections come out, we'll all get together and talk about it. See what our thoughts are if we're going to move forward.
Yeah, definitely.
I am down. Most of it, because I'm really looking forward to it, and I plan on picking up every title for at least 3 issues. So I'm just
see how it all works out.
Yeah, I want to see how it all works out.
No doubt.
One of those people.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we are going to move on to our next book. But again, thank you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Thank you.
Well, we're almost at the end, Alan. I know it's been a long day for us.
Oh yeah.
But we're definitely almost there. We're at the good part of the book. So we just finished talking with Branden and Trevitt for the Marvel Minute with the Inhumans X-Men finale. Oh yeah. But now we're going to move on to Silver Surfer, number 9, written by Dan Slott and Michael Allred, with art by Michael Allred and color artist Laura Allred, with letters from Joe Sabino. So in this issue, Norn and Dawn explore several planets before finally finding a Jetson-like planet named Incandescent 4 with actual human life. The people of Incandescent are surprised to see beings from outside their solar system. The people explain the conditions of the previous planets that they visited were pretty much destroyed because of because they deprived the planet of all of its resources. Hence why they kept moving from planet to planet and finally landing on Incandescent 4. Afterwards, Dawn and Norn are shown around the planet before finally sharing their first dance since being a couple. Things turn upside down when it's revealed that the people and every attraction is a hologram on this planet. And Norn flips out when he's told that Dawn was actually converted to a hologram herself after she needed to use the restroom when they landed on the planet. And Dawn's body has been shipped to a farm to be processed. With Norn's power, he breaks the holographic shield in order to find the farm. But it's revealed the 1% of the people who stayed are humans, and they are dedicated to making a better ecosystem for this planet. And Norn Silver Surfer, he feels pretty bad about this. And now it comes to decide which of the Dawns will stay behind on Incandescent while the other 2 go on to explore. And while it's a tough moment for the characters, the original Dawn stays to live out a life as a hologram, and the new Dawn and Silver Surfer go on about their way, sharing a good moment as they leave. So yeah, this is your first Silver Surfer book. This is my 3rd in this series. I kind of picked up on 7 and 8, but this was one I definitely wanted to touch on because I hadn't visited in a while. What were your thoughts on this?
This was actually good. I had the art kind of threw me off a little bit.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
But it was good. I didn't know that Silver Surfer had a little girlfriend now. I had no idea about that, so that was definitely a shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the idea of a race that essentially converted 99% of themselves into essentially living holograms was interesting, and then you had the 1% that were living on the what they call it, the farm or whatever it was, where they worked on the machine, and the machine was what basically kept everything working for the holograms.
Yep.
I definitely thought Don was funny. Don was pretty funny. And what's weird is that with your wrap up, I thought it was the old Don that went with him and the new Don stayed.
I think I could be wrong. I took from it because I was trying to follow the dialogue, or Don's dialogue at the end, and yeah, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the new version of Don, the hologram, stayed.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, it was still definitely a good moment when they were leaving, because it was a tough decision for them, regardless, to decide who would stay. So I definitely enjoyed that. I'm glad it was like a one and done too.
Oh yeah,
like that's perfect. Like, give me more of that. That way we don't have to, or like or miniseries. When it comes to like a miniseries, you're going to get a story. But yeah, one and dones are cool. I like it.
Yeah, so this was pretty interesting. I can see why long-time Silver Surfer fans might not like this, because this is definitely different than the traditional Silver Surfer. Because traditionally, Silver Surfer is flying through the galaxy by himself, contemplating life and philosophical questions. And here we have him, with somebody that he seems to love, even though at the end, I get the feeling that he doesn't quite know how to articulate that.
Yeah.
But I get the sense that he does love her and care about her, because he talked about how for a moment he went back to his darker self, and he doesn't like that. And he asked her essentially, don't get in trouble like that again, because I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was when he freaked out, because he broke the orbit to find the farm. That was a pretty cool panel.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Yeah, I love you too."
And they're on their way.
So, yeah, and it was definitely good that, like you said, it was a one and done, and they didn't try to stretch this out or anything. But this was fun. It was a fun issue.
Yeah, and I like the little B plot that they threw in there. The character Rappaport was there to get some of the vials of the holograms to go off, and when he saw Dawn coming in, he did a mind wipe on her. He's like, "You never saw me. I'm out."
Yep. Don't say anything,
because that's going to set up more than likely what's to come. Because actually, see, the reason I think that was one of the reasons why I thought it was the original one, because I'm pretty sure that's the original Dawn who spoke to Rappaport. Let me see if I can page through it real quick. Yeah, I think it was it?
No, I don't think it was, because she ran into him on the way to try to find the real Dawn.
Oh, you're right. Yep, you're right.
So that would have been the hologram, because she was on the surfboard.
Yeah. Okay, I see that now. There we go. I'm glad that's cleared up. It's a little confusing.
Yeah.
A little on the trippy side. But yeah, the whole restroom thing was interesting, because when they landed, she was like, "Yeah, I need to lay some waste." And they were like, "Huh? Is she serious?"
I need to use your facility. Yeah.
Kind of surprised.
And then it's like, "Oh, that's what she means." Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We did not know. I thought the whole dance thing was pretty cool, as they were kind of checking out the planet, seeing all the debate, having a debate, going to the fashion show, the circus, and then they finally share their first date as a couple. It was a good moment.
Yeah. And it leaves her with something to remember him by.
Yeah. I guess you really don't see many relationships in a lot of comics nowadays. Doesn't seem like it, at least. I guess in like the main two.
You don't, and that's partially because it seems like they've been trying to get away from that whole relationship aspect of the heroes. Like I don't know why they feel that, because they're heroes, they shouldn't have any kind of relationship.
Right. Yeah, I don't get it. I think it actually gives more care to the comic and the reader.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I definitely don't give like an overabundance of it, but
oh no, just have it there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, let's see what else was there for this. Overall, I'm a big fan of Mike Allred's art and Laura Allred's art. So anything they always touch, I'm definitely following. And they're doing Doom Patrol, as well as Ambush the Bug from DC's Young Animals. So
maybe that's why it threw me off at first, because that's what it reminded me of a little bit. Was a little bit of Doom Patrol.
Okay.
And I guess seeing that in a Marvel book kind of threw me off. Like, this doesn't look like this should be in a Marvel book.
And Dan Slott, I got to give him credit. He's won me over for his Silver Surfer book right now. I don't know how much of the story is him over Michael, but he's doing a good job on this, opposed to that clone conspiracy thing he did. Poor guy.
Can't win them all.
No, you can't.
Well, it's like I said last episode. Like, some writers can write, the big name characters, and some can't, and some who can't are better at writing, secondary characters.
Mm-hmm. I guess I should mention too that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say every writer can't write every character.
No, especially since starting this podcast and noticing a lot more of the books that we read that I normally wouldn't read. It's cool to see. But I was going to say this whole like one and done issue was kind of a take on our possible future. Us using all the materials that we have and not having another planet to go to.
Yeah,
we're going to be holograms soon.
Yeah, we're going to be holograms, people.
2029.
Living holograms. Yep. 2029, all the mutants are basically going to disappear, and then we become holograms.
Wish we would have touched on Logan earlier, but we'll do that soon. Next episode, or maybe we'll record something short and throw it out there.
Yeah, we'll do something. We have to touch on Logan.
Oh yeah, for sure. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm glad we discussed it. Definitely gonna be adding this to my pull list. It seems like it doesn't come out every month either, because I feel like it's been at least 2 months since I read issue 8. So I'm not sure what the scheduling is. Did you see that number 1 on here?
Yeah, I saw the big number 1 and recognized it as soon as I saw. Like, oh boy!
Oh boy!
It's a Marvel now.
One number 9. That's what it actually means. Yep. But good stuff. You want to move on to our next book?
Oh yes, I do.
Cool.
That'll bring us to our next book of the evening, which is all new Wolverine number 18, which was written by Tom Taylor, with Nick Varela as artist and Michael Garland as color artist. We picked this issue up exactly where the last issue left off, with Laura deciding that they can actually beat I'm going to remember her name.
Tiger.
Kamara.
Or Kamara, you're right, sorry.
No, it was Kamara. It was Kamara. Decided they can beat Kamara because they're given an ultimatum either to give Laura up and Tiger, and everyone else can go free, and Nick Fury is having none of this. Laura decides that she's going to go fight by herself, and everyone else, Angel, Gambit, and Gabby say, well, you're not fighting by yourself because you got us. So she comes up with a plan. It is revealed that Tiger actually managed to get a Iron Man armor off the black market, which was hilarious. Laura then gives Angel a sniper rifle and says, you have the best eyes. If by any chance I go berserker, I want you to shoot me in the head and take me out. After which they go to give themselves up. And then Gambit is holding a can of beans, which he then charges, throws, and explodes, and realizes, like, that's a big explosion. I should probably start carrying beans from now There is then a fight that ensues, and it is revealed that Laura has taken the Iron Man armor, put it on minus the mask because she can't use her, scent or vision with the mask on, and they actually pursue to have a giant battle. As this battle was going on, Laura actually manages to eventually get to Kamara as she's trying to escape. And she decides to take Kamara out once and for all and end this. Another.
She ended it all right.
Oh yeah, she ends it. She drowns her. But another noteworthy note is while this is going on, Belena actually reveals that Laura did not kill the town that we thought she killed a couple of issues ago. When Laura saw the trigger scent coming down, she clawed herself in the head and knocked herself out. After which, Belena was actually sent in to clean up and kill the town. In the end, Laura is told that she is free to go and that Belena is actually the one that did it. And Belena tells her to take care of Gabby. And we end with Gabby, Angel, and Laura actually going to meet her Aunt Debbie now. And let her know that they're all safe and essentially they can, be some kind of family now. What were your thoughts and opinions on this?
I was up and down throughout this arc, since we've been covering it, since the start. And the Belena reveal sold this whole arc for me. Because if you remember, I was a little upset that we didn't see that. I was like, I really wanted to see that. And I thought that... Again, I was like halfway through it, and then when I got to that, I was like, okay, all right, Tom Taylor, you got me. That's a good wrap-up.
Yeah, if you remember, I defended why we shouldn't have saw it.
Yeah, yep.
Because I was like, from Laura's perspective, she blacks out and doesn't know what happened, so we shouldn't see it. But now that we have this reveal at the end, I definitely think that while I had a strong argument, I think that this is way better. This is a great reveal. Even if I had been in the same boat that you were in where you hated it, and if I'd have said I hated it and then got here, I would have taken it back. Because I did not see it coming that Belena did it. I was more because they were trying to convince Nick and them that, she was under the influence of this trigger scent and she can't, she couldn't help herself from what she did.
Yeah, so we were kind of thrown off by that and made us kind of like not, kind of forget about it for now until it was revealed. Yep.
But the reveal that it was Belena was like, oh, that, and not just that it was Belena, the reveal of what Laura did, the fact that she knocked herself out to prevent herself from hurting innocent people.
Actually, I take that back. The turning point for me was the canned food.
Oh man, Gambit!
That's when the plan. Yeah, because that's when the plan, went into motion, and I thought it was a pretty smooth plan, just how it was like drawn and played out.
Yeah, and while I love I love Logan Wolverine, like I love the traditional Wolverine. I think with the plan, she actually showed herself to be a little bit better than Logan because she had a precise, legitimate plan.
That's a good point.
That they didn't say phases she didn't say stage 2, stage 3, but it had stages to it.
Mm-hmm.
And she had contingency. She's like, she knew like when I go out there, she's going to try to hit me with that trigger scent. So if by some chance I'm not over this, one of you has to take me out. Like she thought of a contingency.
Yeah. And
then to see the fact that Kamara threw the trigger scent on her and it didn't work, and Laura was like, that doesn't work anymore. And Kamara was like, what? Like she's like, what just happened? That should have worked. There's no way you should have been able to break that. But she did. And this was an awesome wrap up to this arc. Because from the beginning of this arc, I said that they needed to get rid of this trigger scent. If they want her to grow any further as a character and establish her as a great character and a worthy successor to Wolverine, they have to get rid of this trigger scent. and they did it in this arc. They gave her closure because they got rid of Kamara.
Yep. Wolverine or Laurel choked her out.
Yeah, by the end, I was like, Kamara might escape and then come back, and I think I'm not going to enjoy that.
Yeah, I thought that was. I thought the same exact thing. I was like, somehow she's either get away or get arrested, and then escape.
Yeah, but she took her out. You know, because she was basically like, no, you're not getting away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're not coming back in the future to try to cause me any more problems. Like, we're in this now.
Yeah, we're done with this.
Yeah, which was awesome to see a character do that.
Yep.
So she took her out, and then the reveal that Belena was the one that killed the town was like, you know, why it was kind of sad because you saw Gabby reach Belena.
Yeah, I was gonna say Belena still had a heart too.
Yeah, she still had a heart. And she was doing it because you didn't read the arc where they introduced Gabby and other clones. There were more clones of Laura.
Yeah, I came on just after that.
Yeah, well, they were essentially breaking down from the way they were cloned. They had like nanites or something inside of their bodies, and the nanites were breaking down and they were dying. And Belena said, like, you know, I had to because she gave me an option to help fix me and keep me from dying. So that was sad, and it was kind of sad to see her like, you know, yeah, I did it, and I'm going to have to, you know, take the fall for this, and I'm going to have to go down because I'm the one that did it.
Mm-hmm.
Laura's completely innocent. But overall, this was just a great arc. I love this so much. It gave me what I wanted, even though, like you said, there were some ups and downs. There were some spots in it where we were like, oh, this is where it's got to head. It's got to head here.
Right.
And then we got to the next issue, and it did not head there. It went somewhere completely different. I think the ride was well worth it.
Yeah, I thought the Iron Suit was maybe a little too convenient, but for what it was needed to be used for, it was there. So that's just like a minor nitpick.
You know what? I didn't think so, and the only reason why is because I know about Madripoor. It made sense for somebody like Tiger to have some kind of like Stark tech or some kind of Avengers tech or Shield tech. Okay. That actually made perfect sense.
That's what's up.
Because they were in Madripoor.
I thought it was funny.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thought it was funny when she was like, I promised I was going to give it back.
Like, yeah, don't tell Tony.
Yeah. Well, he's dead anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, quote unquote, air quotes, dead.
Yeah. Tony, in my opinion, Tony is dead. But
we didn't even touch on the Jean Grey fake out. That was good.
Yeah. Jean did play a part.
Yep. So everyone was there for a reason. So I'm glad for that. Because I didn't know why Gambit was in this. You know, I know he had a past with Madripoor, but I didn't see his purpose in it. So I guess the beans, yeah. Not Agent Carter, Maria Hill. I guess I don't think she really had a part in this, did she? From what I can remember, not like a big part, at least.
Not a big part. When it came down to the fight, it was really the mutants that played a big part.
Yeah,
I don't think
I was gonna say you had Nick there just to arrest him.
Yeah, I was about to say the Shield agents, they more went in to get Belena. Because Gabby and not Gabby, but Laura and everyone else, they fought the heavy hitters. And Gabby and Nick, and I'm guessing Agent Hill, just went in and got Belena.
Right. But yeah, man, good job, Tom Taylor and all the art crew throughout this arc. For sure. Let's rate this arc.
Wow, you really want me to rate it?
Oh yeah.
Even with the misdirections, and now that it's over and I can see the complete arc for what it is, I actually have to give this a 10.
Oh.
This gave me exactly what I wanted from the beginning when we first saw that there was going to be a trigger set and stuff involved, and I was explaining what the trigger set was. My first complaint was like, we need to get rid of this. Like, you can't do anything else with her if you keep this over her head. And they eliminated it, and by the end of it, we got to see like she can be an awesome Wolverine.
Yeah, and now we're see a new start for her soon now too.
Yep, because she's about to get a new costume and everything. But because we see that she has a skill, but she went a step further than the traditional Wolverine because she crafted a plan. She led a team.
Yeah, definitely. That your score does not surprise me because you've been a champion for this book and you've been loving it every time we've talked about it.
Yes.
So no doubt, and we're just coming off of seeing Logan, and we're about to talk about Old Man Logan.
I still want the one issue as a poster. Like I'm hoping I find that somewhere down the line.
I'm sure you could, or you can get a sketch. That'd be pretty expensive, but that'd be a nice piece of artwork.
Yes.
Nice. Well, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go as high as you. But I am going to give it. Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.5. Because I did have some up and downs, and that's the main reason I would have to give it an 8.5. It wasn't perfect, but I will say this last issue I thought was a really good wrap up for this entire arc. One of the better wrap ups we've talked about in a while, because it was a good coming out of nowhere kind of wrap up. It literally tied everything together, and like you said, the plan, that's a big part. So, but yeah, definitely 8.5 for sure.
I can respect that, especially as from someone who's pretty much fresh into Laura, whether you want to call her X-23 or Wolverine. So from someone who's fresh into it, I can respect that. That's a respectable rating.
Awesome. Well, you want to move on to our last book of the night?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Keeping on the Wolverine train. So, yep, it's going to bring us to Old Man Logan, then, number 19, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Felipe Andrade, color artist is Jordan Boyd, with letters by Corey Pettit. And so in order to find his way back to the Wastelands, he'll need some help he'll need someone with magic to help him get back. The problem is everyone he asks has turned him down at this point, and this leads Logan to break into a maximum security prison to break out the demon Asmodeus and offer him a sweet deal. So that was my little nutshell review for that one, because it's kind of hitting all the plot points. I thought
you did.
Yeah. I thought this was a fun, good setup issue. I'm in a way, I'm glad we're not jumping right into the Wastelands, and Jeff Lemire is giving us a reason why it doesn't work that easy to get back there, while speaking with, all the people he talks to. But what were some of your thoughts going into this?
I love this. This was fun.
Yes.
It was hilarious seeing him actually fight through the facility, the cellar. Mm-hmm. And it was the dialogue was funny between the guards, where they're kind of like, that's Wolverine. Like, yeah, he's older, but he's just like, listen, just let me through.
Very classic. Very classic. I liked it.
Oh yeah. I definitely love the surprise of Miles Morales. Like, that just came out of nowhere.
I as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, he's going to be, this might make his top 3 at least this week.
Like, yeah, that came out of nowhere, seeing Miles Morales there, and her whole interaction was hilarious,
yeah,
too.
I enjoyed it.
I also enjoyed the moments through the book where they actually showed him meeting with the different magic practitioners. I
loved
and everybody, like, turning him down, like,
Doctor
he went
Strange.
The Beast, like, he went the Beast and Doctor Strange, and Beast was like, yeah, that's not a good idea. And then he went to Cable, and Cable was like, yeah, time travel's not a good idea. And then he wwent to Doom, and Doom was just like, no. And Scarlet was just like, no. And Black Panther was like, no. And Doctor Strange was like, very interesting.
Yeah, and because the first person he goes to is Magic.
With Magic.
And I like the explanation that she gave him. She's like, we're not even sure if that happened in this timeline with everything that's so messed up, which is true because the continuity is all kinds of fucked up. So I love the fact that Jeff Lemire touched on that. And again, like I said, kind of in the earlier, gave us an explanation why it wouldn't be so easy for him to get back to Wastelands right away. So he has to go, some desperate measures to get Asmodeus out. I did a little bit of research into him, and he's been dead since one of the early Doctor Strange books from like the 70s, I believe I saw.
Well, it looks very alive to me.
Yeah, so they pulled a deep cut for this one.
Yeah, well, overall, this was good. The only issue I had with this was I had an issue with the way they did Magic. I kind of didn't really like the way they drew her face.
Yeah, it took me back for a minute, and I after I reread it, I appreciated it a little bit more. I like the style of it.
Yeah, I can't agree with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the conversation she had and the reason she gave him, but yeah, that's my only like real drawback with the issue.
Understandable.
But it was still good though. Like everything else was still good. Like even with adapting Miles Morales to this art style, didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I thought it was a good transition. Now, I do want to touch on when he at the start of the issue when he's talking to the guards. And he's talking to one of them. He says, "You feel lucky, punk." Good old.
Oh yeah, he had his dirty Harry moment.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
I know what you're thinking. He just slashed 3 guards. He can't have any more energy left. Well, do you feel like it was just like, come on, Wolverine?
And that's kind of a callback to one of the older Wolverine issues, which is cool. And it's good, like like we were saying during Inhumans versus X-Men, after Lemire leaves this book, I'm not sure where this is going to go. I hope in a good direction, but even you can kind of tell Lemire is getting burnt on the superhero books, because I took him as possible jabs, kind of just at the superhero realm of things, because he's talking about I think it's Miles or Logan that says I'm getting tired of these superhero versus superhero battles.
It was Miles.
Okay.
Which made sense for Miles to say that because in the Sitting in the Tree arc at the beginning he talked about like how stupid he thought it was, and yeah,
everyone either that or Marvel's doesn't mind making fun of themselves.
True.
But yeah, overall good start to this arc. I can't wait to see what kind of deal he's going to offer Asmodeus, and obviously someone's going to be on his tail after Miles couldn't take him down. Because it was funny, like Logan unlocked some villains from their cells to deal with Miles.
Old man Logan.
What else? Oh yeah, Doctor Strange was the only one that gave him a conversation though before he turned him down.
Was like no. Well, Doctor Strange and Magic are the only two that gave him a conversation.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, like Doctor Strange is like, yeah, Magic already called me. She told me you were coming.
Yeah, she told me that you were going to come, and he was like, even Doom called me, and I have to admit I agree with all of them. Everybody called Doctor Strange. He was like, yeah, I agree with everybody.
Well, you did get some, a piece of continuity in here. Doctor Strange actually mentioning, Magic isn't different or isn't the same right now.
Yeah,
it's cool to see that. And then Logan's been drinking this whole time, so he needs to take a piss. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I think that's all I really have for this. Kind of just a setup, good comedic little setup to get us to where we're going. I'm sure some longtime Doctor Strange fans will appreciate the Asmodeus deep cut. But soon we'll be at Secret Empire. Dun 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 dun. I guess I kind of want to touch on that real quick. The Marvel news, some of the Marvel news that we had earlier is that Marvel's actually going to be putting comic book commercials in front of their movies and TV shows finally.
Yeah, which seems like a no-brainer. Like they should have already done it.
Exactly. I'm not sure why DC or Marvel has not done that. It just seems like a huge missed opportunity. But yes, we'll save that for a later day. But awesome, you got anything else for this?
No, I don't.
Awesome, yep. I'm excited to see where this goes. I think it comes out in either a week or 2 weeks. We will find out soon. But let's move on to the second favorite part of the show, and that is the rankings. Why don't you go ahead and start us off?
All right, we did, 9 books this week?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's start with my number 9, obviously. And no surprise, my number 9 is going to be Inhumans versus X-Men.
Same here.
For a series that we started and we liked in the beginning, like it went downhill fast and it did not recover.
No.
Wow. So much. I think we spent enough time saying what was wrong with this issue.
4 or how many? 5 hours total?
Yeah, we could have taken 5 hours total, probably destroying this book. But since that's also your number 9, I'll just jump to my number 8.
Yep.
Which is actually going to be Grass King's number 1.
Okay.
I did like the artwork, and I liked a lot of things in this book. But this is still new territory, and there were some other stories that we read this week that I liked a lot better than this. But like I said, I definitely would be willing to stick around and see what happens with this story.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of heavy hitters this week. Nice. So I'll bring us to my number 8 then. It's going to be Justice League versus Power Rangers number 3. I was kind of just expecting a little bit more. I'm hoping it does pick up after this issue. Now that we do have 3 issues left, let's get into the action and stuff. Now that we've established the characters together, now they've been set up with a problem. Let's get them in action to get that problem solved and kick some Lord Zed and Brainiac butt.
All right. Well, it's funny because my number 7 is actually Justice League Power Rangers number 3. I don't think this was the strongest so far out the series, but I kind of think we needed this issue to set up getting back to the Power Rangers reality where I think the majority of the action is meant to take place.
At in Angel Grove,
Angel Grove, yeah.
Word, sweet. Well, that's gonna bring us to my number 7, and that's gonna be Planet of the Apes, Green Lantern number 2. I mean everything I've already said. When we discussed it, it hasn't grabbed me just yet, or I'm a little taken back on this issue instead of the previous one. But the cliffhanger at the end has me at least wanting to continue to see where this goes, because the Grodd cliffhanger is, it makes sense that they would bring him in there. So I want to see him kick some butt, all the butts.
You want to kick all the butts,
all the butts. All right, what's your number 6?
Okay, well my number 6 is going to be Silver Surfer number 9. While this is my first introduction to the Silver Surfer comics, I actually did like this as a really good story. But just like I said before, there were some other books this week that I felt had stronger stories for me that spoke more to me than Silver Surfer.
Right on. Glad you enjoyed it overall, though.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Sweet. Cool. Well, that's going to bring us to my number 6. It's going to be Action Comics number 975. I definitely enjoyed the book. I'm going to repeat myself again. I'm not steeped in the Superman lore. I'm definitely, into this arc for the hype and to see what they do. And I do want to see them, push along the story, hopefully to kind of, again, get us a little hype for what the big, the whole rebirth thing is. Like we were talking about, maybe he'll, end up teaming up with Flash and Batman, to figure out some more clues. But, I'm in it to see how this all goes, though, and I hope it ends strong.
All right, that brings us to my number 5?
Yep.
My number 5 is actually going to be The Flash number 18.
Mine as well.
It was good, but it definitely feels like a slight break between the Rogues Reloaded and the Button. I do want to see where this is going to head, and I would hope that they would maybe pay a little bit more attention to some of the continuity in certain panels in the near future.
Yeah.
She has solid art all the way through the book. Everything was solid all the way through except for that one panel.
That really stuck with me.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't even know it until you pointed it out, and once you pointed it out, I'm just like, whoa, who missed that? But yeah, it was a fun story, and I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen next and how Reverse Flash is going to play into all of this.
Yeah, same. Yeah, pretty much everything you said. A little bit of a step back for me. And yeah, I'm definitely in it for the long haul to see how it all plays out, and I hope it ends strong. But this just a tad bit less than what I wanted.
All right, well, that'll bring us to my number 4, which is actually going to be Planet of the Apes, Green Lantern number 2.
Okay.
I understand why you were kind of taken out of this issue, but I have a history with the Planet of the Apes movie, so the fact that they're finding a way to fit this new story in respectfully in the continuity of the movies, as well as adding what could possibly be new lore to the Green Lantern, I won't even say Green Lantern, to the Lanterns universe is very interesting, and I really, really, really want to see what's going to happen in number 3.
No doubt. Yeah, I hope it's another one that ends strong as well. It has a lot of potential, especially with the new lore, or at least in this mini series. The lore that they pulled in here is pretty big, so it's cool that they're going to play around with it. Hope they can stick it. Sweet. That'll bring us to my number 4 then. It's going to be Grass Kings number 1. The story really intrigued me. I really enjoyed the art. It's something different. More of an illustrated a watercolor style that we don't see often in books. The presentation of the book alone, with the paper stock and the cover, just good presentation, and I'm glad that Boom is putting this out. Aside from their more commercial properties that they do, so I'm in this one to see where this first arc goes, and the mystery's got me wrapped up, so I'm in it.
All right, well, that'll bring us to my number 3, which is going to be Old Man Logan number 19. I think this was definitely a solid entry in this arc that they've started with him trying to return back to the wastelands. They had a lot of funny moments in this book, some good action. It was fun to see some characters pop up that I didn't expect to pop up, and I'm definitely interested to see what the offer is with the deal.
Yeah, my number 3 was going to be different, but after talking about it and halfway during what you were saying, I'm about to go with Old Man Logan number 19 as well. Harking to everything you said, good comedic moments, good little setup to get us excited. The cameos, just say no is what they say. But yes, the next 2 were definitely overpowered. Old Man Logan 19, still a good issue, but after speaking some other stuff, usually I think it's the first time in a while that I've changed it around after talking about it. It's been a couple episodes. Yeah,
it's been a while since you said that you had to change some after talk about it. It's funny because this is where it got really, really hard for me, was these top 2. But my number 2 is going to be Action. It's going to be Action Comics number 975.
Yeah.
I love the reveal of it being Mitchell Pletlick, and I love the backup story with the reason for why he pretended to be Clark Kent and what happened to him. And I do think that this could possibly have huge implications going forward with the whole rebirth that's going on right now. I'm interested to see where it's going to go and whether or not Mr. Oz is going to show his hand in any kind of way right now. But it had to be number 2 this week. It just had to.
Understandable. Awesome. Well, my number 2 is going to be All New Wolverine number 18. Again, after talking about it, I've been up and down with this arc, and I thought Tom Taylor did a really good job of wrapping it up, and moving Laura her new start. So I'm excited to see where she goes, and I believe he's still writing it after this. Am I correct?
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm about to check real fast to see if he is indeed still writing it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Pretty sure he's still on it. Let's see.
Yeah, it doesn't have the artist on there.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's what I was looking for.
But we'll find out soon. And I mean, it's interesting to see that she's getting this new costume, and she might be going. We'll see. Now, I'm kind of a little curious how to see where this new art and this new start is going to go, and what this mission is going to be now that she's gone through this transition.
Looks like she might be working for S.H.I.E.L.D.
I hope not. Well, we'll see.
I hope not too. I just said it because it was like it's a stealth suit.
Yeah, right. I understand. But no, this was a great, good arc, and we've gushed over it enough. So, what's your number one? I already know it, but let's go ahead and tell everyone.
My number one is obviously all new Wolverine number 18. I love this. This wrapped up the art perfectly for me with a bow and a nice packaging. I loved it. This art gave me everything that I wanted right now for Laura. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to see where it's going to take her. And believe it or not, this would have been my number two until you asked me to rate the arc earlier. And then that made me reevaluate it all and say, like, no, this has to be number one this week.
Right? Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with Gabby now.
Thank yourself for it. Oh, yeah, me too. Like, I wonder what's going to happen with Gabby. Like, I can't wait to see. Especially because now Gabby gets to actually meet her cousin.
Right, yeah. Very true. It was April? Yep, April. That's cool, that's cool. Sweet. Well, my number one, obviously, is going to be Silver Surfer number 9. Came out on top this week. The art, I think it struck an emotional chord as well. And I think I took the most away from this book. And again, it was a sweet one and done, wrapped up, and now they're on to their, now they're on to the next trip, and I'm looking forward to see where they go.
Okay, I can respect that.
Yeah,
I feel that Superman should have been higher on your list, but I can respect that. I can respect.
If I was Superman King, it probably would have been at least 4. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But awesome. Let's see. What's your honorable mentions this week?
I managed to get 2 extra books in this week. The first was Suicide Squad number 13, which is the next chapter in the little burning down the house arc that they got going on. It was pretty interesting. We found out the fate of a couple of characters that we hadn't seen. Some people's motivations got pushed along a little bit, and we finally found out who the mole is inside Bel Rev.
I will have to say, we've been covering that book, I think, since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And, I've been a little down on it lately, so I will have to say it was nice to take a little vacation. It felt like I was on a paid vacation away from the book for a week. Because it ships every 2 weeks. It's like, man. But yeah, we'll definitely have to talk off air. Because I want to.
Yeah, because I knew as soon as you decided not to do it on a week, that was the week that something was going to happen in the book. And sure enough.
Sounds like a few things happened.
Oh, a few things did happen.
Nice.
But that was the first book that I got to read. The second book that I got to this week was Man-Thing number 1, which was the first outing of famed author R.L. Stine in the world of Marvel. This was actually a good book. It was funny. It was definitely a step away from the traditional superhero books we've been reading.
Nice.
And he used a character that pretty much almost nobody really knows anything about, which is Man-Thing.
Yeah, and the only reason I would check it out is because of R.L. Stine.
That's what made me check it out.
Yeah,
and it was worth it. That he did a good job.
Yeah, it's on my read list. I definitely want to give it a chance because again, it's R.L. Stine. We grew up on Goosebumps.
Yep, that's what made me get it. Was that I would suggest this for anybody who is a fan of R.L. Stine, like you said, that grew up on Goosebumps. Anybody who wants to see an interesting take on a relatively unknown character, which this is how I feel new writers should be done. Even if they're like acclaimed writers and everything, I think if they're new in the comic book industry, they should take a swipe at unknown characters or characters that are rarely used.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Man, I'm tired.
you and me both.
All
what
right.
a day.
So I got a couple honorable mentions as well before we get out of here.
Right.
So I did read Kingpin #2.
Okay, I almost got that.
I just got around to reading it last night, actually, and it's super dialogue heavy, but we are getting more explanation on. So I guess I thought that she took the job. I think we both might have thought that she took the job originally.
No, I didn't think she took the job because she never gave a definitive answer.
Okay, yeah, I guess with the paycheck, the whole paycheck thing, I kind of took as her, deciding, but anyways, yeah, super dialogue heavy. We got some more information about her backstory. Overall, it's a good issue, and the reveal at the end makes sense why they brought it in. So we'll talk off air about that. But yeah, I'm going to continue to follow this and see where it goes. But man, it's dialogue heavy. I have to read it again actually because it's so dialogue heavy. I read the dialogue mainly first. So I need to go back and do art and dialogue.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I also read Mother Panic #4. It's the start of a new arc and a new art team as well. And I think it's probably my favorite issue so far. It still continues some of the stuff that we saw in the first arc, but some new things are introduced. And it's pretty cool. So I definitely recommend it to you and anyone else who's been following it, and maybe you dropped off after issue 1 or 2. Definitely give it another shot. But yes, that is my honorable mentions for the week, and now we're at the end of the show, and
yes,
felt like a long one just because we started so late tonight due to technical difficulties and all that good stuff. Inhumans versus X-Men.
Oh yeah,
IVX, and then we'll end up talking about Resurrection with those guys again, so I'll be good. But yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna edit this piece, get this out to you by tonight. Well, whenever you're listening to it, really. But you got anything you want to say to the people?
No, just thanks for joining us, and hope that you guys have been enjoying the show. Hope you've been spreading the word. As I said at the top of the show, we're on YouTube, so if he's putting this out later on tonight, this will probably be on YouTube within a day or so. Just be sure to watch, subscribe, leave comments, ask questions, give us feedback. All of those things help us.
Indeed. And I'm tired, and here's what we're talking about next week. Next week, we'll be discussing All-Star Batman #8, Batman #19, Super Sons #2, Superman #19, Killer Be Killed #7, Spider-Man #14, and Vampirella #1.
But I swear I needed more.